Hey, it is Tuesday, the 15th of September, 2020. It is the Giant Bombcast. I'm Brad Shoemaker, Jan Ochoa on the stream. Ben Pack on the stream.
Hoo-ah.
Jason A. Striker on the stream.
Oh, hello.
Rorie in the place of, I'm sorry, Matthew Rorie. He's just Rorie to us.
He's like
Everybody calls me Rorie.
That's right.
He's my roar dog.
It's the classic mononym. Matt Rorie in the Brady Bunch place of honor this week.
Jeff is on assignment.
Yes, but the rest of us are here holding down this podcast.
Sure enough.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. And, nothing going on around here these days. Everything's
fine.
steady business as usual. How's
I'm
everyone?
used to the smell of smoke, so
That's right.
it's fine.
That's right. Nothing.
Hey, our AQI dipped into orange for the first time in a week, baby.
Nice.
I opened my windows.
What?
Yeah.
It's 100 over here.
What's your personal AQI cutoff for it's okay to open the windows?
Yellow.
150.
Yellow?
150.
yo,
We're
Yep.
94 right now.
Yellow is what? Below 100? Is that right?
Yep.
I think so.
Okay. We've been
I think the scale is like 150 is if you're really sensitive to smoke, don't open up. But if you're not, you're fine. So that's where I've been kind of drawing the line.
I think it's like for a limited period of time. Is it
Yeah.
okay? Don't
Just to kind of air things out, because I saw a lot of people talking about like, hey, I was feeling really bad, so I bought a CO2 monitor, and it turns out not opening any doors or windows for 7 days straight is really bad for CO2 levels in a tiny apartment.
I haven't thought about that actually. Interesting.
So just open everything up, flush out the air for like a half hour, and then shut it back down.
That's why we got like 8 plants in this house.
Yeah.
Gotta scrub our carbon around here.
Should I get a plant?
The plants are probably all full of ash now.
Yeah, that's true. You should get a plant, Jan.
Oh,
Don't-
no.
Pro tip: don't wash the ash off of your car. Use soap and water.
Yes,
Otherwise, you're gonna fuck it up.
Oh, what?
You'll create lye with
Oh,
the
no.
ash, and then that'll rust the paint.
Yikes.
We're learning so much about smoke and
Oh.
ash. It's very fun.
Yeah, it's almost like humans weren't adapted to live in constant raining ash and sulfur. It's weird.
They played a baseball game in Seattle last night with like 280 AQI.
I saw
and these kids,
like the players were all wearing masks on the field.
like N95 masks too.
Like N95 masks on the players on the field while there was nobody in the stands.
Yeah, the
like
Niners
baseball, but-
played this last Sunday when the air was like 280.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Stupid.
I can't imagine. I can barely
I'm
get
not
up the
a big-
stairs these days.
I mean, what's
Sports aren't that.
Yeah, what could be more
that
important than
important.
sports? Like they can't possibly cancel those for any reason. It just has to go ahead.
What sport would
no
look coolest in a mask like that?
No. Gymnastics.
Ribbon dancing.
Okay.
There you go.
Fencing, but they're just wearing it over the like little fake Xbox Series S mask that they wear.
Like what is
I'm going to
all-
go say figure skating. Figure skating could go for some really cool masks. I think they could really do a good job. But they would be inside though, so they wouldn't need it. But maybe they can do outdoor figure skating.
I'm trying to think what's like the burliest looking sport where you could just get this
Oh, synchronized swimming.
Oh, of course. Okay.
Yeah.
Would that-
Professional lumberjacking.
Would that be frowned upon if the swimmers were wearing masks? Because isn't part of the breathing part of the allure? Or
Just to cover up their goofy faces whenever they're
Yeah.
coming out of the water. They always look so majestic.
Wouldn't that create a lot of drag in the water though? Like don't the swimmers all like shave all their
Yeah,
body
maybe.
hair?
But if they had scuba, think about the synchronized stuff they could do under the water.
That's true.
That'd be
Switch masks, like in a synchronized, everyone takes one off and slides it onto the person to the right.
That's right. That's right. All right.
picture masks.
I'm gonna cut right at the chase here. Spelunky 2 just came out.
Spelunky dude.
Oh!
Spelunky 2 just came out. I've been playing a decent amount of it. Matt Rorie, you have been playing less than I have, but yet you were still further in the game than me. But
I was up till about 1 a.m.
Yes.
I finally got to 4-1. So
I
I'm
think
making good progress.
Ben, sounds like you cracked into it just recently.
Yeah, it dropped at 8 a.m. So I got a good hour and a half in this morning.
Anybody else? Fired up? Yeah.
I'm Spelunky curious this time.
Yeah. Matt Rorie, you are by far the number one Spelunkster of the crew here.
In Matt Rorie's own words, he is, quote, the most accomplished
accomplished.
Spelunky player.
Hey.
I realized after I said that I probably should have said I probably have the most experience in Spelunky, which is probably true as well. But
You got it.
I would say most accomplished is also true.
If you got it,
honestly,
if you got it, flaunt it, man. I'm not going to hold it against
hey,
you.
I'm not good at all games, but I'm pretty good at the ones I'm really good at. So I've been really enjoying Spelunky 2.
I mean, like we sent you that review code. I don't know what time it was yesterday, mid morning, let's say. Like, yeah, and by I don't know, 2 p.m. or something, you slacked me a screenshot of redacted. I don't know if I could say what it was, but it was a, let's say, mid to late game thing, and I was like, God damn it, he already got
maybe. We don't have to mention too much specific wise, because I know people that adventure is part of that whole thing. But I'm really digging it a lot. It's really a balance between incremental and adding a lot of new systems and stuff like that. But it's super fun. It's more Spelunky in a way that I'm kind of glad they didn't go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, like I'm with you. Like, you want a Spelunky 2 to feel and look mostly like Spelunky 1, but like for the first, I don't know, like first hour or two, I was like, this is maybe a little too familiar. Like, it's like it's a ton of the same items up front. Like, the first world is like another brownish cave, similar to the first one.
It's weird.
Like they don't. I feel like they don't go out of their way to differentiate it too much right off the bat.
Sure.
That's
It's kind of an easing into the new stuff.
Yeah.
That's
later on.
exactly what I wanted from this game. I feel like my expectations going into this game is I really would have been A-okay if this was Spelunky 1.5. Like, you know, I feel like Spelunky 2 is a game you could really mess up. If you tried to add too much, I feel like you'd lose the soul of what makes it good. And I think this, like, it walked that delicate line of like kind of slowing you into like, hey, yeah, okay, I remember Spelunky, but there's some new stuff, new enemy types, new hazards, right? But then, like, I got a peek at World 2. I went to 2.1 and was just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. So one of the big things that I think we can, it's not a huge spoiler, but at one of the things they've added is, as the further down you go, the more you have options to go between different kinds of worlds. At the end of 1.4, you have the choice to go between jungle or this volcano kind of world. And I would say the jungle feels more difficult than the jungle in Spelunky 1. The volcano world is kind of new. It kind of combines hell and like a more mechanical kind of thing. But that has a lot of new challenges too. And I'm sure the farther down you go, because the weird thing is, I think it might kind of branch out and then come back in for boss fights and then go back out. But it's a kind of I haven't gotten super far past the first big boss fight, so it's really neat. It's got a lot of callbacks to the first game. It's not going to be, you're going to see a lot of the same enemies, a lot of the same characters, a lot of the same bosses. I have a feeling, but it took a couple hours to click, but I'm right back in it. I'm really having a good time. I think it's really. I haven't dived far enough to have a final opinion. Obviously, I've only played it for like 5 or 6 hours, but it seems really good.
I was impressed that reviews came out yesterday, honestly.
Yeah,
I was like, man, people really got through this game fast,
Or got it way earlier.
Well,
I
yeah, I think some people had access to a build of it for a while, but
Spelunky 2 is for sure harder than Spelunky 1.
you think so?
Yeah.
Like, that was my first impression, but then I was like, maybe I just haven't played Spelunky for too long, and/or I'm bad at it. But
even in that first world, like, so, you know, okay, one of the big, just straight up, like, if you put them next to each other, changes of the first world is, so the first game had those totems, which had spikes come out, and those would like really fuck you up. In this one, they have little like kind of almost boxing gloves that pop out and will just knock you back. When I first saw that, I'm like, oh, cool. They put that in there so they can make it a little easier so you die a little less on World 1. But those things are almost more sinister than the spike things.
Oh, no.
They can push things into you as well.
yeah, like anything can trigger those, not just you.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything that goes near them will immediately trigger them.
And the fucking moles, holy shit.
Yeah, the moles are really
The moles are so. Like, when I said it doesn't differentiate itself up front, like the enemies are the one exception to that. Like the one way that it immediately comes out of the gate with a bunch of new stuff is the way in which it can kill you. like the moles pop out. They can pop out of any dirt. I guess they can't like.
They can't go over wood or
They can't
stone.
go over like wood and stone. They can't cross gaps unless they come out and jump.
Yeah.
But any like contiguous dirt that they're in, they can just pop out anywhere, and like that fucks you so many times.
It can be. You really have to. What I've learned over the course of playing is that the lock-in kind of attention, you really do have to keep your eyes. I mean, obviously, if this game can kill you at any moment, at any time.
Yeah.
I had a caveman riding a fire-breathing animal in World like 2-3 just come up from off screen and kill me in like one hit.
That's like a great escalation of the new stuff it
Yeah.
has, because like the turkeys that you can ride show up in World 1, and like it's not even immediately apparent you can ride them until you figure it out. And then as soon as you get to World 2, it's like, fuck, now the enemies can ride those things too.
Yeah.
I bought one of the, I think it was like a Wendigo or something. I bought a mount from the shop and I hopped on it and I'm like, oh, cool. Like I can run around. I hit a button. It like shot a little shockwave out of its mouth. I'm like, okay, it has a weapon. I hit another button and I just teleported into a wall and died.
Wait, inside the wall?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's still dangerous. The vehicle system is going to be one of the really interesting things because you can ride those around. They'll protect you from damage. They'll have some special abilities, but I'm really curious to see if they're going to be. Every new thing is going to be tied into a secret at some point.
Yeah.
Like the new way you can summon ghosts in the middle of a level, that's going to be tied to secrets, I'm sure. The Eye of Wajat's still in there in the first world. I really want to try and unlock the black market, which is always my favorite part of the first game. I hope that's in there too. I'm really curious about the whatever the Yama adjacent quest is, because I'm sure you're gonna have to do things in each world.
So you were saying something. We streamed a good bit of this yesterday, and you said something that kind of blew my mind, which is that the levels are numbered the same way. It's like worlds are sets of 4 levels. It's 1, 1, 1, 2, and then 2, 1. I just kind of assumed, because everything else is so familiar, that it would be the exact same structure as the first one, like 4 worlds and then you're done, and like a secret Yama-esque boss or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you said something like you assume the game is actually way longer and way more worlds in sequence, which
I don't have any kind of I've looked into it. I haven't read a wiki, but I the way that you go into the first cave and it has the infinity symbol. I'm really assuming there's some kind of infinite run thing.
That seems conspicuous to me, that they start with, instead of the ring of snakes at the beginning, it's an infinity symbol, and it's got to mean something.
The first major boss is in I'll go and say, if you're really avoiding spoilers, you might not want to hear this part, but the first major boss is in 3-1. You kind of come into him. That's a new thing for this game. I've never seen him at the beginning of a world before. But then, so I'm assuming that there's probably, I don't know. It's weird to have a big mini boss like this. Even 1-4 has a mini boss in it, which we showed a bunch yesterday, kind of permanently there. Like 1-4 is a pre-constructed level every time I've done it. So that kind of
really?
Stuff. Yeah,
I knew the boss was there every time. I didn't know
it's always got that same arrangement of 2 ladders down the center with the kind of spike stuff on the side.
But is the rest of the level the same?
I don't know about
pretty much.
Is the whole thing the same?
Yeah, the 2 caves going down and the 2 exits. It's always pretty much the same. So that kind of makes me, I don't know, worried. But obviously the boss fight levels are the exact same thing. It's the same level every time. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, that's not any different than Spelunky 1. Olmec and Yama were the same level every time in Spelunky 1. But it's curious to see them going back and doing 1-4 as a static level compared to, the roguelike elements will kill you no matter what in every other level. But it's kind of interesting to see them craft a little bit more custom kind of levels this way.
I feel like you have to be way more vigilant than before. The arrow shooting. You always have to look below you before you jump down to make sure you're not going to get shot with one of the arrow things. I feel like there's so many more things like that, like the moles, for example. Or the yellow rolling lizards are, I think, just as bad as the moles, basically. And you have to watch your positioning so much when those things are around.
I think one of the things that is frustrating a little bit is that the new color palette kind of lets some of those elements fade into the background. Like the spike traps in the jungle are very kind of covered in grass, and they're inside grassy, usually inside grassy stuff. And they're very difficult to make out if you're going fast. I
wonder if that was a conscious decision to try and force people to slow down a little bit.
World 1 has a bunch of that stuff. There are pieces of fabric hanging down from the ceilings. Have you seen those? And there can be enemies and stuff hiding behind those that'll totally screw you.
Even the sideways spike traps feel like they're more muted and blended into the background in this one. So I think it's very much kind of one of the difficulty things. I wonder if when people who are colorblind get into it, I didn't see any colorblind settings in the game. I'm curious if people have hard time differentiating colors, will have a really hard time with this, because it's pretty much it's kind of a softer, more pastel-y kind of color palette. So it's neat. It looks really good. The new visual effects on things like bombs and the jetpacks and everything like that are good little flary kind of visual effects. But also I've seen some really significant FPS slowdowns on lava and things like that.
Really? There's got some weird stuttering in the PS4 version a little bit.
I had a lava pit in the volcano world blow up, and I survived it, but then the rest of the level was 5 FPS or less. Or something like that.
Whoa!
Wow, that sounds like
I think the physics on the fluid stuff are probably dragging it down a little bit in that sense. I mean, that's not.
Are you on a regular PS4?
Yeah. I don't have a Pro.
I wonder if that might have something to do with it.
Maybe.
I like that they opted to just get rid of the old HUD in favor for what they called the Pro HUD. It looks it's a lot cleaner. It just kind of condenses and has your like bomb and rope count in the all with the health info and stuff. They have a ton of like HUD accessibility options. You can increase, decrease sizes of text of HUDs. You can like do some stuff where it turns like room mood off, which will be like sometimes you walk in a room and it'll say like for the boss one, it'll say like you hear the beat of drums. Yeah. It'll turn off the goat. You can turn off the ghost alerts. You can like kind of. It looks like there's some stuff in there to kind of like make it harder, like how you could turn off portions of like the HUD in God of War. Yeah, if you want that kind of cleaner look.
Yeah, you can turn it off entirely too. I think
it's got a lot of customization around the HUD and stuff like that.
I should say I didn't look very in depth for colorblind stuff. It could be there that I just skipped over, but it might be something that they've implemented already. I didn't look super hard, so I don't want to say that as an authoritative kind of thing.
I didn't see any of that stuff, but any idea what the room feel that's like your voice echoes in here or something like that? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, there's I did get that room and I forget what the payoff was, but there's a bunch of them so far, a bunch of new ones too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that speaking of, like, I found a digger bot thing in one of the worlds that I haven't figured out how to activate yet. There's a bunch of stuff that I see. I'm not sure how to interact with it yet. It took me a while to even figure out the turkey. So part of the fun of this game, I got into Spelunky 1 way late. Like I didn't play it until obviously it was on the web as a web game well before it came out to anything else. But by the time I started playing Spelunky, I knew people had uncovered every secret in the game. This time around, it's going to be a lot of fun just to try to figure stuff out. And once I feel like I've gotten enough progress, I'll look up the wiki, kind of real crazy stuff, because they were finding the secrets in Spelunky years after it came out. So
yeah, I'm already getting into that Dark Souls mood of like, I just want to talk to people playing this game and like swap crazy secrets. There's like people popping off stuff in the chat right now that I hadn't thought about. It's kind of cool.
It's gonna be fun. Yeah. My initial impression was kind of like this, like you said, this is kind of just more Spelunky. But then as I'm getting into it and realizing the depth, I really think this is going to be a strong contender for my game of the year. I'll say that. I have
to say I had a lot of fun on that stream, having you school me on ways to kill the shopkeeper safely.
I honestly, that trick with the rope outside the thing was something somebody told me at one of my last streams. I think I did one with Will Smith a month or two ago. We beat Yama as co-op. Did you remember the times I beat Yama on stream?
How many times, Matthew?
Rorie? 3 times, I think. So far.
Wow,
3 times. I'm allowed to brag about some things because I do so much other stuff wrong.
I knew someone in the games press that was so good at that game that he would like. There was an indie showcase that we went to for somebody. I forget who it was, and that game was coming out on whatever platform this was for.
Yeah.
And they had it on a kiosk, and he just like strolled by and did a casual Yama run and just beat Yama standing at the kiosk, and then walked off.
I think I beat him like 7 or 8 times on a variety of platforms. I did it a bunch on Vita, but it's not. You have to have a lot of stuff go your way. And I'm really curious to see what the extra challenging stuff in this game is, because it's already a notch up in difficulty. It feels like you can really, I mean, obviously you can die at any time in Spelunky 1, but it does feel like it's a notch up in terms of death. I noticed a distinct increase in ability just over the few hours that I played yesterday. Like I was definitely getting a lot better. So it is something you can train yourself for if you work at it.
Yeah.
We had a lot of questions yesterday about whether people should play Spelunky 1. If they haven't played either one, which would you choose? Like go straight to Spelunky 2. Like you're not gonna. Yeah. There's similar enough games that you're not gonna really. I don't think you're gonna miss anything out by not playing Spelunky 1. But
you'll get in on that kind of first swell of everyone discovering everything.
Yes. Now is the fun time to be playing a game like this because everybody's talking about it.
And I'm kind of shocked that it's only $20. I'm really happy it is. I mean, wow. It's only $20. It's only on PS4 for now. Steam in a couple weeks. And as we said yesterday, Derek, you hasn't announced any other platforms, but I'm sure that's part of his Sony exclusivity window.
It has to be coming to everything.
I would be if it's not
on my Vita.
Yeah, if they put it on Vita, I'd be there. That's the biggest thing for me about
Switch. Don't you?
Yeah, Switch is going to be great, but
play it on the Switch. Are you saying you would actually opt for a Vita version over the Switch?
Oh God, no!
Oh no!
Good Lord! What? Bradley.
The weird thing about the PS4 version is that I don't like the analog stick on it for these kind of games. I usually play analog stick on the Vita,
so
really? I switched over to D-pad last night.
Is the only way to go.
I don't like.
There's no analog movement.
Yeah.
So you just kind of wiggle.
Well, that's been a big thing for me, like the last day, like having to adjust to D-pad stuff. I feel like I was getting it pretty well last night. So,
yeah,
it seems like a great game.
Yeah.
It's more Spelunky in ways that I really was hoping that it would be.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot more stuff to come. So
I think getting the power pack on that stream yesterday was like the moment
was
that
neat.
it really opened up for me. Have you guys gotten that thing? It's one of the backpacks. Like you can't
That's how you get this.
Yeah, like you can't use like say the jetpack for example. Anything that goes on your back, this replaces that. But it modifies literally any weapon that you can pick up.
Yeah,
So,
you were
like,
just dumping with the shotgun.
right.
after
So
you
like I had the
grabbed it.
shotgun. I had the shotgun when I put it on, and that makes the shotgun the refire rate like twice as fast and way less kickback. So you can just like dump with the shotgun. And then we dropped a bomb, and the bomb is like twice as big with like the explosion like
Jeez,
way
everything.
bigger. And then I put the shotgun down at one point, and I was like, oh shit, my whip is a fire whip now. It's like every possible weapon you can get your hands on is modified by that.
Cool.
yeah, and there are definitely some items like I know they said there's like a cloning gun, a flamethrower, which I haven't seen yet. So I assume there's going to be more stuff unlocking as you go down. I wonder if as farther down you go, the more stuff can unlock in the earlier levels. That might be fun too. But it seems like they've added a bunch of stuff. The weird thing about the backpacks now that they can all blow up. If you drop a bomb near them,
right.
yeah,
That's
they
right.
can blow up
You
now.
tried to-
If you shoot them,
You had
they
me,
blow up.
You had me do the shield trick to mash the shopkeeper into the wall, except there happened to be a jetpack also between me and the wall, and that was the end of my run.
That shield stuff is really interesting too. Like I was running around with it. It'll deflect bullets. It'll push most enemies back, and you can smash them into walls. But it'll also crush every gold piece that you run over. So there's all a series of drawbacks and positives. So
Awful lot of risk reward like that. The ghost jar.
yeah,
The
the
curse
ghost
jar or
shard thing is
whatever.
really fun. That's going to tie into a lot of secrets, I bet.
I think so.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be a tie to a lot of weird stuff, like with the Kali sacrifice table and everything like that.
The ghost jar is it's basically a jar that looks like people are asking in the chat. Like it's got the ghost face on it, and it has a high value gem in it if you break it. But the second it breaks, the ghost spawns.
Yeah, it's technically called a curse jar.
Curse jar,
So
whatever it
it's
is. Yeah, but like so you
ghost
You can
face
bring it to
killer.
the end.
So yeah,
intact,
yes,
so-
yes. That's
Yeah,
the.
you can bring it back to the end and get the diamond out. You can also throw it at things to curse them, which I did.
I didn't
yeah.
know that. But does
They
that,
turn-
does that still spawn the ghost?
Yes,
Okay.
as soon as it breaks, but you can throw it at like the damsel. Like I threw it at the dog, and he turned gray, and I didn't notice anything different with that. But I have a guarantee you're going to be throwing that shit at things and then using those things in different ways. Like maybe it curses weapons. I don't know. I'm
interesting.
sure there's a whole weird set of interactions there. So because that thing's in almost every level that I've played.
Yeah, it's all over the place for sure.
Yeah.
They seem to be doing a decent amount with the in and out of doorways into little sub-level type stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's an interesting like structural change.
Yeah, kind of like the Fez thing where you're going to different parts of the world that you can't necessarily see from where you are. The Eye of Wajad is hidden in a cave now. I ran into a very long cave mini game in in the volcano world, I think, last night. The Moon Challenge, where you're stuck in one of those things for a long time. I won't go into it too much, but a lot of cool new shop interactions too. You can gamble now on dice. You can throw dice around to try to win a prize.
You can find the turkeys for the guy.
There's a pet shop.
Yes.
There's all kind of merchant
Wait,
stuff.
what?
Ooh.
You can
Pet
buy
shop?
You can buy pets.
Yeah.
I bought that Wendigo that teleported me into the wall.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Wow.
If you go down, I think I've never seen him in World 1. I think I've only seen him in World 2.
I got one in World 1.
Wow, okay. Yeah, there are a bunch of Yangs around, so.
Yes, Yang is all over the place looking for turkeys. Just don't show him any dead turkeys.
No, he does not like that.
He really doesn't like that.
He will shoot you with a crossbow.
Yes.
It seems really fun. I'm really
Like I said, it took a couple hours before I was like, this is some new shit. Like it really did
Yeah.
feel just like more of that at first, but yeah, it's.
We'll have more. Are we
opening up very quickly? Chat says you can cook the turkeys with the fire whip,
Ooh,
Wow.
which
delicious.
not sure why you.
Oh
would do
yeah, I
that.
have gotten turkeys as an item before. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, do you think would that drop the God? Who drops the cooked bird? The cooked
Quillbear?
The quillbear. Do you think it's that? Do you think it's
Probably
those-
same-
like that's
same
like
item, I
that's
assume.
like an instant heart, right?
And then you bring cooked turkey to Yang. What does he do? I wonder.
God, then there's usually 3 turkeys per level. Does that mean if you roll up with a fire whip, you can get 3 extra hearts? That seems crazy.
Maybe. That you'd have to find that power pack first. I have not seen that super often.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys just finish up the show. I'm going to go play some.
We're gonna
Get
do a
this turkey
quick look
tack.
this week, right?
Yeah, we were still talking about doing like an official quick look, although we covered so much in that stream yesterday that
I want to see how the online plays, though.
yeah, we
Yeah.
tried the online yesterday and it was real rough.
Let's try it again.
it'll
I'll
be better
hook up a Ethernet cable.
Yeah,
to
let's
this thing and
try it
see,
over.
but-
Try it over hard line, and they may patch it. Like they pushed like 4 patches for the game between Friday and this morning, so I think they're still updating quite a bit.
I think he said the last thing Derek was working on was the netcode, trying to get it working right. And that, I think he had said that was the excuse for not having it on Steam right away, that the netcode would take a little more time. So if I recall, I could be wrong on that one, but I really hope that gets patched in out, because I really do. The times that I've played co-op Spelunky 1 have been fun, but the way the camera is locked to one player made it very, very difficult. We still beat Yama, though.
Oh,
well, la-di-da.
Yeah, we'll have more of that soon, I think.
Yes,
I definitely think
we will do some more of that for sure. Ben, you wrote Among Us on this list, even though we played it like a month ago, but like, is that thing really just taking over Twitch?
It is
seems like
super duper. Like all the I saw there was a stream going with like the biggest names in Twitch just all playing with each other, Ninja, Pokimane, a bunch of other people like that. Streamers are using it like just to play with their friends when they're burned out of whatever game they stream. It is, it has that what's the game with the jelly boys that everyone likes?
Fall Guys.
Fall Guys. It has that Fall Guys kind of like anyone can play it. It's on phones for free, which I didn't know before last weekend. And it has crossplay, so you can like just whip out your phone. It has ads. That's the only drawback. After every game or whatever, you have to watch an ad. But Among Us, for anyone who doesn't know or didn't watch our stream, it's basically one of those deception style games where you have like anywhere from 6 to 10 people in a crew, and everyone except 1 or 2 people is a crewmate, and you're trying to do tasks to fill up a task bar, and those kind of like WarioWare-esque mini games. But then there's 2 people who are imposters, and they can kill you or sabotage the ship, which will force you to like run to certain zones and complete certain tasks before a timer runs out. And the whole point of the game is trying to either fill up your task bar to full before everyone except 1 person dies, or vote out the imposters, because whenever you find a dead body as a crewmate, you can call a meeting, or you can call an emergency meeting at certain points in the map, and then that's when the accusations start flying. Because the cool twist that game does is it imposes a no talking policy during most of the game,
which we
so you have to kind of just like
ignored when we played it.
Well, I mean, we ignored it sort of, but then we like started realizing how important it actually is, because you're like, oh, blah blah, and then you can't like be like, oh, I just got murdered, because then everyone's gonna go look for your body or whatever.
Do you find you find that the Twitch people are mostly because I found it very difficult myself, which everybody loved, that I was talking a little bit during those segments when I shouldn't have been talking, but that was the first time I played, so I didn't really quite understand how, like you said, we got used to it over time. Or are Twitch people really like not talking at all during those things, or is there joking around,
or they're muting themselves in Discord and talking to their stream?
All right.
So it would be a lot easier to stream and not talk if you were streaming everybody's perspective. But when you're only streaming one person and there's no talking, then it's kind of dry for that phase of the game. But
yeah,
I don't know. Like on the one hand, like I'm a little surprised that this has so much staying power and it's actually as popular as it is. But on the other hand, like people really love to watch someone lie effectively, I think.
Yeah, I haven't been watching a ton on Twitch. I've just been playing with people, mostly friends. And it's a really easy game to organize through like Discord, because you can be like, hey, at here we have 6 looking for 4 more, and you're just like pop, fill those up really fast. I've been a part, pretty much every game I've been a part of has been a full 10-person game, just because it's that easy to get people. The game is only $5 if you want to play on PC. It's free if you play on your phone, so you can get people in like that. Really low learning curve. I will say most of my play experiences have been really positive, and mostly been playing with people that I like know most of the group. I got roped into one where I only knew a couple people, and like 2 of the people in the group are really try hard, like sweaty gamers about it. And like
you're playing it
just
wrong.
like, if somebody like asked a question, like if a new player asked a question during the no talking phase, they got yelled at by the people, or just like they're like, I saw it. They like knew the room, they knew the name of every room, they knew the name of every task in every room. And like they would, it was actually kind of great, because at a point they'd be like asking really specific questions, like, why didn't you do the wiring puzzle in admin at this time? And the other person could just be like, I'm new and I've never played this before and I don't know what you're talking about. And you have to like be like, are they new? Do they not know? Or are they like playing it up? It's a fun game to play with like varying levels of experience. It's not one of those games where like if you're completely new, you're fucked, because you can kind of just be like, I don't know what I'm doing, and use that as a cover. it's fun. It's really fun. I think it's like one of those games where if you have like a solid gaming group and you're burned out of whatever game you're playing, it's a nice one to just like pop into, and the rounds go quick enough. I don't think I've been in one that lasted longer than like 10, 15 minutes.
Isn't this game like 2 years old?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
It's just been sitting there all this
It
time.
might even be older.
I think it's about 2, and they said they're almost done with Go.
Among Us
Go Alone.
2. Did they?
Yeah, that was the surprising thing for us is when we launched it, they were like, hey, Among Us 2 is coming. And I was just like, didn't this game just come out? But no, it just really started to become popular in the last, few months.
Crazy.
Have you seen has the developer been out there like commenting on this like insane success all of a sudden? Like I wonder if they're like holding 2 back now to like try to build it out more now that it's so popular.
Yeah, I don't know. My only problem so far with it is like their servers are a little bit of a mess. It can take like 15 tries to get into a game. Sometimes you just have to you'll get all sorts of different packet errors, server errors, like unable to join errors, and you just have to kind of keep spamming join. So that's a little annoying, especially for new players. They're like, I can't figure out why this isn't working. And you just have to be like, no, just literally keep hitting that button until you get into the game. It helps if you're playing on a non-NA server, we've found. Like if you're playing on the Europe or the Asia servers, they're a little more stable, and ping isn't a huge deal for that game. So, I had like 200 MS, but you're just running around with a little dude anyway. So it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. The game's all right.
Yeah, it's fun.
Just don't play it against Finney. He's way too good at it.
Yeah.
And don't play it and fucking ham it up into the camera if you think other people are watching your camera feed. Apparently.
But come up with secret codes when someone leaves the room.
That's right. You gotta watch your tells, man.
Yeah.
You gotta get the little eyebrow twitch, it's gonna give everything away.
Someone's smiling a little too much.
Yeah. You want to talk about Wasteland 3 a little bit? I know
Sure.
Rorie's been playing Wasteland 3. You guys recorded a thing that
Tried. I wasn't happy with the quality of it. We're gonna re-record.
re-record.
A quick look. I mean, I'd rather have something I'm proud of than
I still think you should put that other video up
under
some other label.
I think I made some mistakes in my assumptions about the game. There's some so Wasteland 3 is kind of a old Fallout style isometric action RPG with a lot of combat elements. You have your stats, you have your talking abilities, you have your weapons. It's post-apocalyptic kind of. It's based on Wasteland 2. Wasteland 1 was in the 80s, I think, but kind of dark humor, a lot of funny kind of interactions.
I didn't realize it was that. Like, is it really just kind of Fallout? Like, it sounds like it's really got the same vibe.
Pretty much. Well, I think Fallout 1 was based on Wasteland, like a kind of an influenced by Wasteland.
Huh.
So Wasteland was pre Fallout was Wasteland. That's the word I was looking for. So it's kind of been a weird branch because this is In Exile, who is, used to work very closely with a bunch of people at Obsidian. So they're all, RPG vets from a long time ago. I wasn't as up on Wasteland 2 as I was. I think this game's better. Also, just very buggy, which I was a little... one of the reasons I didn't put up that original quick look is that we talked a lot about bugs, and I speculated that they might not get fixed because it had already been delayed 3 months and it came out very buggy, and then the next day there's a patch. So I sounded like an idiot in a lot of ways in that quick look, and we will take another look at that, I think, sometime this week. I think it's very good. I think it still has a lot of jank to it that is not super pleasant to deal with if you're used to I don't know, I hate the word polish, but it's a rough around the edges in a lot of ways, a lot of bugs. I've shot people through walls. I've had a lot of FPS drops and things like that. It's one of those games. It's like a Fallout game. You kind of know what you're going to get. The humor, it doesn't really click with me very much. But apart from that, the writing seems pretty strong. It's hard to avoid comparisons like Borderlands with all the redneck jokes and like crazy cannibal redneck kind of stuff going on. It's that kind of in your face humor a lot, which is a little off-putting, but it's got a lot of dialogue in it. It's got a lot of dialogue in it, if that's what you're looking for.
One of the characters is a fucking tank.
Wait, yeah, like a literal tank?
Yeah,
like you have a literal big old car with a gun on it.
Wow.
Does it talk?
10 times the size of everyone else.
Yeah, they have an overland.
Are you saying it's a party member?
Yeah, you can be controlled like a party member. It's like the tank in XCOM. The combat is very XCOM-y. You have half height cover, full height cover. You can go into Overwatch and everything like that. My big problem with it, I think, is that and one of the things I was really harping on in the original recording was that when you go up to a combat encounter, it's very difficult to know. Sometimes it'll just pop right off into here's a dialogue and then straight to combat without any choice. Sometimes there'll be dialogue and you can talk your way out of it. Sometimes you'll be able to see their like attention radius and you can try to get the jump on them. And then sometimes they'll go first and you'll have initiative, which is like a very hard to find stat on your character sheet. So the way combat starts, I've had some really frustrating encounters that just were really unfun. There's one in the main city that you start off in where you walk up and you have your 6 party members. It's a big party, but then you walk up and then the other dude in the enemy little group says, all right, we ain't going down without a fight. And then you just get launched into combat and they all take their first turn right away. So they basically can go up and run up and kill somebody in your party without you having even the option to respond. And I find that massaging those kind of things is, I kind of play these games to min-max a lot. Like I want to win these encounters. There's no quick saving or quick loading during combat, so you can't do the saves coming like you can in XCOM. Also, the quick loads take a very long time, like 20 to 30 seconds a lot. So if you may fuck up and you want to go back and try another dialogue option or something like that, it's kind of time consuming. But yeah, we'll do that video, I think, today, and we'll try to put it up tomorrow. I want to talk more about it. I think it's overall a very good game, but has a lot of kind of rough edges still.
I just want to hear more of your impression of the Wasteland Bandits.
I'm gonna eat your grandma today.
Whoa! Yikes, man! She's a nice lady, man. Leave her alone.
There's a lot of weird stuff in there. Yeah, it's the humor is kind of not in my lane, but it's probably appeals. I know a lot of people really like this game a lot.
So similar kind of milieu to Fallout, of like post-nuclear apocalypse type stuff. Same.
On the overland map, you'll run into like radiation zones that you can't go through. So and there's random encounters in the overland map. I think the overland map feels like the roughest part of it. It feels like I said, I don't know if I'll mention this time, but I worked on a game called Neverwinter Nights 2, Storm of Zahir, which tried to add like a walking overland map to the Neverwinter Nights 2 engine. And it was a very kind of hacked together kind of thing that is basically like you walking on a regular map that was just textured to look like the outdoors. So that kind of stuff, it feels that kind of roughness, but I don't know. It's very long apparently. Like I've seen reviews that said people spent like 80 hours on it. So if you're looking for length, it is on Game Pass too. So no shame in giving it a whirl over there. Yeah.
All right, then.
More right. to be continued later this week.
Yeah, we'll get back to that for sure. Let's see what else we got here. Jan, you've got something called Fuser. I have no idea what that is.
Fuser. It's Harmonix's new game. It's coming out later this year.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I threw a presentation of that a couple weeks ago now. So Fuser, I feel like they took what they learned from Dropmix. Dropmix was that card game where you'd have cards of a song, and depending on where you'd place it, it'd play a different part of the song. But instead of continuing down that route, they decided to kind of go back to the rock bandish route of making a proper console game.
And the drop mix situation, those were like physical cards, weren't they?
Yeah, it was physical cards.
Like buy card packs.
Yeah, and then it was like a physical a card mat that you had to put on, and then like you plug that into like a PC, I think. I'm not 100% sure. But so in Fuser, you are a DJ and you have 4 decks in front of you. And those decks are different parts of the song. So you could have the drums, the bass, keys, and then vocals in the different parts of the decks. And then you're dynamically throwing in different parts of different songs. And there's a meter at the bottom that is ticking every measure. So it's every beat. And you'll get bonus points if you drop a part of a song on the beat. And every mission is kind of laid out where they'll have different objectives of like, hey, play the drums of this song, or play a hip hop song during this bit. And you go into each mission, and they'll have a couple songs that are preloaded that you have to bring in, because some of the objectives will call for like, okay, I need like a pop song. And if you roll up with all country music, you wouldn't be able to tick off that goal. And then in addition to that, you can bring in your own selection of songs to each mission. And it's surprisingly, like, for not being able to bring in your own custom music, like from your own music library, the mix of songs that they had in the demo work surprisingly really well.
Is it all licensed stuff, like stuff you know?
Yeah,
What do they
it's
got?
also
Hit me with some examples.
so some of the mixes I was able to successfully put together was Hot Stuff's piano with Summertime Magic by Childish Gambino, like the little keys like the dun, 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 and then like the bass of Take On Me
Okay.
with the vocals of Killing in the Name Of.
Huh.
And then I thought, like, it's not. This shouldn't work. This isn't going to work, but it does.
Wow.
It
Do they like adjust the key for all of those to make them fit, or?
So you can actually adjust the tempo and the key.
Oh,
of
yourself?
fly.
Oh, dude, wow. This sounds like kind of ambitious.
It's pretty neat, and like it feels like a pretty fleshed out tool that I can see actual DJs or
yeah, I was gonna say this only sounds like half game. It almost sounds like half like improvisational, just like kind of like DJ application.
Oh, totally. And like that's the thing. So, you know, like when you play Guitar Hero Rock Band and you play it on the expert difficulty of whatever, it's going to be the same note lane, right?
Yeah.
But here to get the 5 stars or achieve the goals, everyone is doing their own thing, which I think is really neat.
That sounds cool as hell. Yeah, because like the old Guitar Hero Rock Band style is like you're basically just a human player piano, right? You're just doing exactly what it tells you to like to have a thing that is you actually creating stuff from scratch like that. That sounds kind of awesome, actually.
And like so, there's a multiplayer aspect to it too, where you can just jump into like a jam session, right, with other people. And during the demo, the two folks giving the demo like had very different music styles, and it was really neat to see how different people are using the tools that Harmonix is giving you. So you can take a snapshot of like a specific mix and then throw that in a future level or like a multiplayer session because you want to show that off. So the other thing also, if this wasn't complicated enough, is that each deck you can add effects to it. So like a low pass filter, a high pass filter, or a delay. And then on top of that, you can bring in your own instruments on top of bringing in the set music tracks they give you. So say like, oh man, I really want this. Like I want a drum beat over this. You can go and make a live loop of a drum beat, throw that into a song, and then like save that instrument. Or say you don't like the synth of a track, you can throw that in also. So it's very ambitious what they're trying to do.
Sounds really flexible.
Yeah, 100%. And like in the same way that Rock Band and Guitar Hero kind of inspired folks to pick up an instrument, I can 100% see people at least dabbling with editing music or trying to start DJing with this. The skills though, like aren't one for one. Like, you know, if you picked up drums with Rock Band, you could kind of like at least learn timing.
Yeah.
Here, like, I guess you can learn music structure or song structure, if anything. It's really neat. I'm really looking forward to it. And I was really bad at it.
This definitely sounds a little more like gamified and kind of automated than like real DJing situation would be if they're doing like beat matching for you and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. And on top of that, you know, like they're pulling the stems of music for you.
Right.
During the demo, I didn't ask about whether or not you could bring in your own stuff, but I am assuming, you know, how Rock Band is still putting music out on the platform. I'm assuming they would do the same for this. It's really neat. Yeah, I'm really excited.
I might have heard the name Fuser at some point, but I had no idea what this was. But yeah, it's like right here on Steam. It's coming out in like what, less than 2 months or something.
Just about. The thing that made me feel so uncomfortable though is you'll go into each different level or DJ session, and it's set at a music festival, and even just seeing that mass number of people, even if they were virtual, just gave me the heebie-jeebies.
I'm looking at these screenshots right now.
I just don't think I could go back to like a music festival again.
Yeah, the stage is dressed up like a giant tentacle monster.
Oh, and that's other things that you can wind up affecting. You can add your own light effects or smoke effects too.
That's cool.
It's very
weird. It's coming out on Switch.
Coming out on everything. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I'm trying to find
Go ahead, Brad.
Trying to find like a song list somewhere, but I'm not seeing anything. I just kind of want to know.
They had a
here's some stuff. Yeah. Let's see.
So like Brad, they may have an updated list, but like they had like Donna Summers, like a bunch of like even country music as well as stuff.
Even country?
Yeah.
They're really going for it.
Yeah.
Jan, is this do you think this is going to heat up your drive to become an actual DJ.
I think so. It definitely, after the demo, I wound up like digging up the turntables I bought and like trying to redo some mixes. The thing that I feel like is gonna throw off people that want to pick up DJing actually is that Infuser, a lot of it, so far to me at least, felt very improvisational. Versus with actual DJing, you have to pre-prepare everything. Like you can't like, you can jump into something depending on however the crowd is feeling, but a lot of it needs to be pre-prepared, which might throw some people off. It's great.
This sounds pretty awesome. I would like for Harmonix to have another big hit on their hands. It's been a while.
I think do it. I think this could do it.
It would be nice to see them get back in it in a major way.
Especially because this isn't being tied to like any type of peripheral at all.
Totally.
Yeah,
totally. All right. I think that's about it for games. Unless Rorie, you want to talk about WoW for a minute? And by
I had a few other
I
things.
mean like 90 seconds.
Yeah, I've been playing Diabolical, that Quake 3 kind of inspired thing. That's really fun.
That looks really cool.
It's really good. I really want to try that Rocket Arena mode in there. We're gonna probably do some community co-op corner with that. Also, Wreckfest Season 2 came out today.
All right.
So we'll probably do a stream of that as well. WoW, the pre-patch for the next WoW expansion is hitting soon. They have some cool new stuff in there, like you can level up alts. Once you get your first character to max level, you can do the alts in a different way. You don't have to go through the story all over again. I don't know if that Battle for Azeroth was so bad. I'm not really super excited for Shadowlands, but we should. I will take a look at that when it comes out. So the pre-patch, I haven't subscribed in a year, but I also got to the last expansion of Final Fantasy 14. So I got some weird MMO heavy times coming up. I'm finally in Shadowbringers. It took a long time to get through Stormblood. They talk a lot at the end of that expansion. A lot of talking.
Just a video game playing fool over here.
But Spelunky's out now, so who knows when I'm going to be time for anything else.
Yes. Tends to be all consuming. All right. I think that's it for games, unless anybody's got anything else they want to bring to the fore. All right. I'm calling it on games then.
Excellent.
Yeah, let's take a quick break and come back and talk about the news. We'll see you in just a minute. Matt, Rorie, I'm sorry, you cannot go to karaoke.
Yeah, I want to though. That little riff I did on Hot Blooded was pretty good.
You got your vocal,
Hot water. Hot.
yeah, got your vocal
That's got a really good
vocal cords all limbered up and ready to go.
Yeah, I
ready to
know.
sing.
I mean, just a bunch of hot people in a hot room singing hot songs, man.
That's right.
I want it to come back.
That's
Probably not going to happen anytime soon.
That's some hot stuff.
Also, we all forgot during that extra long break to shave. I was going to and now I have one mustache hair going down over my lip, and it's all I can feel right now.
Oh, that's the worst. You gotta like
Before emails, I am taking this
pull
off.
it
I swear
down
to
and
God.
like the whole thing.
No, yeah, I'll take off the mustache for sure.
Dude, you shave it on the stream, man. Let's just.
I shaved, but not my face.
I think you can
Hey-o.
just lay a towel down over your keyboard and shave off your mustache.
In other news, Yolanda's getting me a poke bowl for lunch.
Okay, cool.
I'm just going to share that right
Just
now.
a day in the life of Matt Rorie over
I'm
here.
not on the Bombcast very often, so
No,
I
it's
have
true.
to
You got to
take
get it
equal
all
stuff.
out while you're here.
Everything's coming out of
It's
me.
just a stream of consciousness. That's what we
another
expect.
kind of stream,
I
too.
think I saw that karaoke is banned in Canada right now.
Karaoke is not. I think they tracked one of the like super spreader outbreaks to people doing dumb karaoke in a booth. Like
Singing.
maybe that was in Korea.
Singing is apparently like extra bad for spreading the virus because you're just spraying droplets everywhere, and especially in a tiny karaoke room.
And then sharing a microphone. And,
One of the first big super spreader things was up in I think Washington State. Like, it was a chorus practice, and they spread out and everything. But nope, like 5 people died.
Almost everybody in that room got it.
Yeah,
good times.
Yeah.
And that's the news.
You know, what's not banned is video game news.
Should be.
Talk about it. Yeah, you're probably right, but
then we wouldn't have our middle segment.
that's right.
Yeah.
We'd have to come up with something else.
Yeah.
Also, I screwed up my embed for the news segment we were about to do, so just please hold for 1 second.
I can do that.
I guess. Oh crap! Where did that window go? I mean, I guess the big news is that. Oh man, I still broke this thing. As of last week at this time, what was it? Microsoft had just come out and confirmed the leak about the Xbox Series S.
Yep.
But the Xbox Series X stuff was still just rumored. But they have since come out, and I'm just gonna have to redo this window capture. since come out and reconfirmed the Xbox Series X pricing. It is $499. It is launching on November 10th. They confirmed all that pricing for the Xbox, what is it, All Access, the payment plan, where it's $25 a month for the S, $35 a month for the X. As I try to pull up this video here that we're going to talk about, I guess the kind of the big thing really is they sent Xbox Series S and X's to a YouTube channel called Unbox Therapy.
I've heard of that person before.
Yeah, which I had seen this guy like, I don't know, a year or two ago last, I think.
Mm-hmm.
His channel has certainly grown since then.
People love taking things out of boxes.
People like seeing what's in the box.
It's nuts.
People like seeing what's in the box, but
It's like what's in the picture, but slightly worse lighting.
yes. All right, I think I've got this working here now, finally. But they sent him like dummy versions of the Xbox Series S and Series X. They are non-functional.
I'm sure.
It's just the casing. Obviously, I mean, these things are in mass production now.
Right.
So certainly the casing and stuff exists. I don't know if we'll roll over this footage while we're talking about it here, but
Good
like,
looking box.
but when you see the back of the console, it's just metal plates covering where the ports are, so there's nothing in there that actually runs.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of cool to see somebody just handling these things and sort of comparing them size-wise to each other, to controllers.
Controller is like as wide as the box.
Yeah, this is like, I'm kind of shocked how much the size of the Series S is like becoming a selling point for that thing. Like,
Right.
It's cute.
it's
adorable.
tiny. It's like half the size of a launch PS4.
So, Brad, these are dummy consoles.
Yes,
This
they
is
don't
actual
they
stuff?
don't do anything. But they are
Would
they're not like cardboard cutouts or whatever. These are the actual like plastic and metal
Casing, yeah.
that make
Are
up
they
the real
weighted,
boxes.
do you think?
I don't know.
Or,
I don't think so.
I bet they wouldn't bother trying to simulate the actual
okay.
Weight and
Dimensions and
distribution of the circuit boards and all that stuff. But it's just kind of cool to get a look at that stuff. Like, I think the straight up speaker grill on the S is like more striking in person than it is in the promo photos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a big old black plate.
There must be active fan under there, right? Like it's not passive cooling or anything like that.
Surely, yes, I
Yeah.
would say surely there is something like that in there.
That guy needs to dust his PS4.
You
Jeez.
know, that PS4 has been around for a while. Let's say.
Those vents on the side of your PS4 will get full of dust if you have that in like an enclosed kind of TV stand. You got to really get in there every once in a while.
Yeah,
and he is not, so I can't trust him at all.
Anyway, yeah, like I think it's just cool to see the stuff up close. The S is like shockingly small.
It's like doing Tetris with consoles.
The X, as we have seen, is just this ridiculous like black obelisk.
Which also looks great as well.
Yeah,
I don't know.
kinda-
I'm such a fan of the way that these two consoles.
I kind of like this. I'm into this boxy motif that they have going on this generation. I think. I wonder if this will goad Sony into doing something similar.
I don't know.
That thing is just so weird looking. I would love to see somebody like just flip that thing around and shoot it from every angle.
We might find out soon enough.
Yeah,
we might see something like that soon.
Yeah, that's on the news list. I mean, it's not exactly news. I mean, it's news about news, I guess. But Sony announced they're doing a. Are they calling it a state of play tomorrow?
I
Not
think
state of
it's.
play.
Or I don't think they
Yeah, I
even
don't
used
think
that
it-
branding, did they? I think they just
No.
PlayStation 5 Showcase is what they're calling
Yep.
it. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific, they will be streaming something they're calling the PlayStation 5 Showcase.
We will be talking over it.
Yeah, we're going to talk over that. I think they said it's about 40 minutes. Like, here's the entirety of the messaging. Before PlayStation 5 launches this holiday, we wanted to give you one more look at some of the great games coming to PS5 at launch and beyond. Our next digital showcase will weigh in at around 40 minutes and feature updates on the latest titles from worldwide studios and our world-class development partners. So that's it.
So probably
Very-
no console news.
Well,
Yeah.
that doesn't sound like it, but at the same time, if not tomorrow, then when?
Yeah.
Man? Like,
Yeah, if they don't, like they're obviously not confident in their
Yeah,
pricing
man.
structure, which doesn't instill a lot of confidence
it
in
does
me
not.
as a consumer.
If we don't get priced tomorrow, I think there's going to be a whole lot of eyebrows going up.
Yep.
Like, what are they doing? Something doesn't add up here.
Well, they also announced today or yesterday that they're cutting back their initial order by like 4 million units. I think
so. I didn't. Yeah, that came out this morning, so I didn't
Yeah.
send that to you guys in the notes, but I've got that here in front of me. Granted, so yeah, they're cutting.
Well-
they're cutting their expected production estimates for the PS5.
They actually just released something like hours ago to
Respond to this.
yeah, to say that that's not true.
Oh, really?
actually.
Huh.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we should definitely read their statement, but I don't know. This is from Bloomberg, which is pretty well sourced in Japan. It could be wrong, but
go ahead. I'll hit you with the update.
The Bloomberg chip. To be fair, they say they're dropping their estimates to 11 million PS5s produced by, I believe, March, which that's not exactly a small launch quantity. You know, like that's a pretty good size. But I think they had been targeting like 15 million or something.
Sounds right.
This story says they are having yield problems on the system on chip.
So here's their full quote. Sony has reached out to gamesindustry.biz with the following statement denying the Bloomberg report. While we do not release details related to manufacturing, the information provided by Bloomberg is false. We have not changed the production number for PlayStation 5 since the start of mass production.
All right. That sounds pretty unequivocal.
So that is denying that they have internally like cut production numbers or whatever. That is not denying the part where the yield on these chips is maybe not as good as they expected.
Yeah.
They're having a lot of chips come in that don't work.
What happens when you bin a chip like this? Do they? I assume they get recycled and they try again,
I don't
or
know what happens with the materials if that's what you mean. Like in the PC world, you have like this chip
underclocked versions.
Yeah, like we have to lower the frequency on this one or disable some of the cores on it or something like that, and we can sell it at a lower price and capability. But yeah, in a console situation, you need it to work right. So if it doesn't, you just have to toss it and start over, I guess. I don't know.
I assume it's all just silicon. You can probably, I assume they can be recycled pretty easily into the raw material, but I don't really know much. I'm just really curious.
The material science of modern CPU or chip fabrication is fucking mind-blowing. It is insane. Like they're doing stuff at the atomic level all over the place. It's really, really wild stuff, but I don't know.
They announced a system recently that had water cooling for computer processors, water in the chip itself, in the channels, like super tiny water on the actual chip, and that seems insane. What they're doing.
That's pretty wild.
Sure.
It's not related to this, but I'm just really curious what, like 4 million from 15 million would be obviously a significant amount. I'm just really curious.
I mean, like this is largely just like grist for the mill because everybody's desperate for console news. You know, like whatever. If they're going to ship 11 million PS5s by March, like that's a lot of PS5s.
Yeah,
I don't curious about the demand though, because I mean, on one hand, people want this stuff. On the other hand, a lot of people economy's kind of not doing great. Yeah. But this will probably be not a worldwide launch. I'm sure they're not going to go to every region right off the bat. I'm sure Japan, US, and Europe will be the leads, but it'll be tough to find one anywhere else for a while.
That could be the case. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. Like this is super anecdotal. Like it's not data or whatever. But like I feel like I'm seeing more and more people who are kind of leaning away from day one on these things.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is the games aren't there right now.
It's like,
I mean, especially for Xbox.
What do you mean? They got Halo. They got that Halo.
Yeah. Right, I have bad news.
What happened?
They canceled Halo Infinite.
What? No, they didn't cancel Halo.
Just kidding. They delayed it.
What?
Been a lot of weird stories coming out about that whole thing. With like outsourced studios and like multiple studios working on that, and nobody's.
I mean, I get it, man. Like, I can't imagine trying to ship a game at all, much less on new hardware in this environment. Like, I'd feel for those developers for sure. But I think the last piece of console news I got here is you get EA Play with Xbox Game Pass now.
Yeah,
like at the same price.
Is that PC too?
You mean the PC version of EA Play?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I only use Game Pass.
Are you asking about PC Game Pass or PC EA Play?
PC Game Pass, including EA Play.
Oh, let's see. We are teaming up with Electronic Arts to provide Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and PC members with an EA Play membership at no additional cost starting this holiday. So yeah,
but they are doubling the cost of Game Pass, right?
Yes, the cost of that is important to note. I guess the introductory price of PC Game Pass is ending. It was $5 a month. I believe it is going to be $10 a month going forward.
But if you paid, is Ultimate still 15?
Yes. So that is full on the like. You could pay $10 for just the PC if you want, or you could just pay $5 more.
And that's worth noting. That's included in that console.
Yes, you get that in the
payment plan.
Yes,
that we talked about last week.
I keep wanting to call it All Access, and I want to make sure I've got that branding right. But it's their cell phone style payment plan.
We don't have to say All Access anymore.
No, I guess we don't.
And I think they also announced that EA is changing its Origin stuff to EA Desktop on PC.
Yeah, they're dropping the Origin name entirely, which is
that's just really weird.
I know it's par for the course for the Origin name, unfortunately.
Yeah. I signed up for Origin Premier Access Pro, whatever it was, when it came out, because I really wanted to play Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem. Those are the two games that I really wanted to play on EA Origin Access. I signed up for a year or two for like $100, and like, oh man, both these games are not great. I signed up for Uplay Plus for $15 a month for a long time to play Breakpoint too. So I'm making some great decisions with my online subscriptions.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, the Game Pass so far on PC has just been, $5-10 a month is super well worth it.
Have you? So are you a PC Game Pass only supporter or subscriber?
I haven't turned on Xbox.
Like everybody else I know just has Ultimate, so they get everything. But how do you find the value proposition of just the PC version? Like,
I've never looked at the Ultimate stuff. Does Ultimate like include console games?
It's both. Yeah, you get.
I haven't turned on my Xbox One in a year.
I mean, the reason I asked was the narrative when PC Game Pass launched. The narrative was it was a little thin and did not have kind of quite the value of the console version, so I'm wondering if that's gotten better.
Hey, I played Carry On, I played Crusader Kings 3 for a bit, Wasteland 3, Halo, No Man's Sky. That's when it's installed right now. I played a bunch of Forza Horizon 4 when that came out, so for the price that I'm paying, $5-10 a month, it's been well worth it.
Yeah, chat strong support for PC Game Pass in the chat right now.
Good.
The big problem there is still the fucking Xbox app on PC is shit. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It does not. I've had to reinstall Halo multiple times because it doesn't like to be installed anywhere but the C drive. I've talked about it a few times, and I tweeted that out. Like, I keep on having to reinstall Halo. It's 100 gigs every time. And people said, like, yeah,
kind of rough. If you've got data caps. I don't think you do, but like for
I
some
don't.
People who do,
but like my C drive is like a 512 gig. It's meant to be a boot drive. It's not meant to have games on it because I have multiple other SSDs. But I've had a lot of problems with that launcher. So
yeah,
tell me about it.
Yes. The Windows Store, the UWP apps, like all that stuff is a giant mess, and I hope they move away from it.
One of the problems is they have reviews on it, which I don't think they've added to Epic yet, but the reviews on the Xbox app on PC are all about how shitty the app is, not the games themselves. They always say, I can't launch this game because the app sucks and everything like that. So
it's like all the bad reviews about like iPhone games when you look and people are like, I can't run this on my iPhone 4.
Yeah, it's not free anymore. I didn't want to have to pay for this, so I'm gonna give it 1 star. Like it should be free. All kinds of unrelated complaints, but it does make that does make the review platform on there kind of useless because it's just not a very good app yet.
Yes, but this EA Play thing kind of hard to argue with. It's
that's great.
It's not I don't even know what they're calling it now, but the top tier version of EA Play, the one that gets you like brand new games on day one. It's not that. It's just the
archival stuff.
Yes, it's the one that gets you like whatever's in the vault at the moment.
Finally, let's all play Anthem. Let's do it.
I'll play Anthem with you, Rorie.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really curious how that Anthem reboot comes out. They haven't really talked about it since they kind of announced it, but
I don't know if that'll ever happen.
I'm curious.
Something will happen with it, I'm sure.
I'm curious of what they're going to do with the app, though, with EA stuff. Like, are they going to have a separate little section of the store to denote EA games? But it's more content for. I'm sure the no cost thing is kind of. As they announced a doubling in price, saying it's no cost, it's kind of a weird, but it's still a very good value.
For PC, yeah, obviously they're trying to push people to Ultimate, which doesn't make sense if you don't have an Xbox, but hard to, they keep just throwing stuff into this thing for free, like the xCloud stuff that's rolling out soon is also part of just the Ultimate, they're not...
It made me think about getting an Android.
Yeah.
I got one. I go with a burner phone, if anything.
Funny you should mention playing streamed games on an iPhone.
Oh.
Apple's got, I don't know when the new iPhones are going to be announced. That stuff seems to be pretty up in the air right now. Actually, Apple's got an event like soon.
They just had their watch event.
Was it just watches? Okay, yeah.
And iPads, I think.
Okay, yeah. The latest talk was that the phones would not make it in. It sounds like the manufacturing on the phones is delayed or just ramping up. Anyway, they've got iOS 14 is coming out soon, and so they are revising some of their terms of service. If you remember, recently, stuff like Stadia and xCloud were just like kind of flatly shut out of the App Store. Like just based on their terms, there was no way to actually put those apps out on that platform. Mm-hmm. They've revised some of their terms for iOS 14, which now says you can stream games to iOS like xCloud would do, as long as they submit an individual app for each game that can be streamed on the service that Apple can individually test and have you download.
It's ridiculous because a lot of the comparisons people are making are actually like Netflix. They don't have to rank every movie on Netflix to get it passed through the Netflix app on iPhone. And also the weird thing is, like, there's a lot of remote desktop basically what these systems do is like spin up a remote like VM, right?
Yeah,
and you're playing a game in there. Why does this not apply to? I mean, I get that there's a difference between like me remoting into a desktop on my phone versus xCloud or something like that, but it feels like they're really kind of. But is there any money involved? Because is it like a 30% cut of sales too, or just from like launching the app? Because it seems like this is weird kind of like way to slow down other people until Apple spins up their own competing service or something like that.
Yeah, the motivations are questionable. I'm not sure if they would. I guess they can only take 30% of a sign up to Game Pass if you sign up through the app on the phone. Like if you do it on your PC or your Xbox, then that transaction has already happened elsewhere, and then you're just signing in on this platform. But like, it's hard for me to believe that these new guidelines were written by a human being. Like it's almost insulting. It's almost just like fuck you. Technically, you can do it if you want to. Like jump through these hoops.
But they're saying they want a separate. They certainly want a separate app for every game.
Yes, so like
an app listing in the App Store.
Yes, like you would download a Halo Infinite app that can stream Halo Infinite, so that Apple can technically like test and vet it and stuff like that.
Well, at least with Stadia, there wouldn't be that many apps they'd have to make, right?
I guess not.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
For like Stadia and xCloud stuff. I mean, for Game Pass has a rotating kind of thing. They're adding stuff every week, and they take stuff out.
It's not feasible with their business model and the way that they distribute games. Like it's ridiculous.
Unless every app is the same and just has like the same kind of back end where you don't program in the game in the app. But I don't know. It's very. I haven't read the story, but it sounds pretty insane.
Yeah. I mean, Microsoft already came out and was like, nah.
I mean, you go back to the
Microsoft.
Yeah,
Microsoft said
you go back to
this remains a bad experience for customers. Gamers want to jump directly into a game from their curated catalog within one app, just like they do with movies or songs, and not be forced to download over 100 apps. I love how they get a little marketing in there. Look, we got over 100 games on this service.
You should have to get like at least 10 apps.
Right.
No, that's insane. 100 apps.
Yes. So it sounds like they are not going to play ball on this nonsense, which they shouldn't. But that still sucks. I mean, like. Optimistically, you hope this means that Apple's at least feeling some pressure on it. I don't know.
I don't.
After all the Epic stuff, I mean, I think it's brought a lot of the hey.com thing and everything like that. A lot of people are thinking more about Apple's terms of service. And they always say the same thing, like, you know, they've taken advantage of a wonderful ecosystem that we've built and they get a lot of good out of it and we deserve our cut. Yeah. And if they're not even talking about money in this instance, I mean, I guess 100 different apps, they'd have 100 different charges or something, but it's weird. I don't see the motivation for it except just to be, I don't know, a spoiler for other companies that they're competing with in other areas. So.
Yeah. Yes. I don't necessarily expect this to get much better anytime soon, but it's real bummer.
You know I love Apple, so
you're a big fan.
I really defend them for most things, but this is maybe
you and Tim hang out on the weekends.
Funny story. Yeah.
When do we get to the part where these companies just start hiring like mercenary forces to like fight it out for real? Like, let's just
every
let's just close,
every apocalyptic sci-fi book.
I mean, Cyberpunk is dropping later this year.
Let's just close the loop on the Cyberpunk future and just start having PMC wings of Apple and Microsoft and Anybody catch any of this Ubisoft Forward last week? This is the second one they did.
It was only a few games, right?
Yeah. Not much going on.
Not a ton going on. They announced some new stuff. They finally came out with the revised name of Gods and Monsters, if you remember that thing.
Yep.
What is that to the new name? Yes, I fully agree. Immortals Phoenix Rising is the new names of Gods and Monsters. I think Gods and Monsters was an infinitely better name.
Immortal Phoenix Rising. It sounds like a hybrid of a video game name and like an like an Overwatch esports team.
Kinda. Also, I love that the little gameplay walkthrough they put up begins with them saying like we thought this name better reflected the epic experience you will have in this game or whatever. It's like, dude, that name.
They're obviously calling back to that wonderful Immortals movie by Tarsem Sim from a few years ago. You heard the reason they did the name change?
No.
Apparently, the rumor is that, and I saw the headline. Apparently, Monster Energy Drink had kind of an issue with it because I guess they do a lot of esports sponsorship and stuff like that. But apparently, they took umbrage to the name.
That's a shame.
Which sounds really weird. I saw an email today from a game just called Breakpoint coming out this fall. So if like that's allowed when already
Yeah.
there's a Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon
Sure.
Breakpoint from last year, I don't get how this would be another
yes.
copyright thing.
Chat just shot a Eurogamer link over that has straight up legal documents that bears out what you're saying.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
the phrase monster, I mean, nobody is going to get that confused.
Yeah.
A energy drink versus a video game. I get they protect the IP or whatever,
Yeah,
but it's silly.
It's not gods and monster energy. Like
They're
I
not
don't
they're
think
not
anybody's
thinking hard
gonna-
enough. Just sponsor that game.
What if you
like,
pick
sure.
up energy in the game,
Right,
though?
yeah,
Then
it's-
that's a problem.
Ancient, ancient
I guess they
Greece.
did do all the Death Stranding stuff, so they are pretty heavily involved in games. So I can see something there, but that's ridiculous.
Taurine was big in ancient Greece, but
Hey.
I don't know. What do y'all think of that game? It looks all right. It looks like an
Looks
ancient.
alright. Like,
it looks like an
looks
ancient
like a
Greek.
Breath of the Wild.
It looks like an
totally.
ancient
Yeah.
Greek Breath of the Wild, like very much.
Yeah.
So. Straight up climbing up the sides of cliffs and
Like
Ubisoft knows that, man.
It still doesn't do much for me. I like the art style. I like how colorful
Yeah,
it
it
is
looks nice.
for the most part. But man, I've been to ancient Greece a lot, actually,
Yeah, fair.
in video games.
in a
and,
Ubisoft game like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
In fact,
So yeah, it's hard to get excited about that.
Yeah.
About that leg of the journey. But
I don't know.
we'll
Like
see.
I'm at least interested to see developers take cues from Breath of the Wild because I think it was like such a like transformative game for open world. What is that face for?
We know. I don't have to voice my Breath of the Wild opinion.
All right. Anyway, they like straight up say in this trailer like you can go anywhere you want in this world right from the get go. So they know exactly what they're harking back to on that.
Why do they have to spell it Fenix?
I don't know. That's the weirdest
No, it's
thing.
Fenyx. It's worse.
Oh, Of
Oh
course.
my
Of
god.
course.
They're gonna trademark that for sure.
It's even worse. I don't know. I'll give that a shot.
Now Phoenix
sure.
Energy drink is gonna.
Since new Breath of the Wild obviously not coming out anytime soon, I'll see what that's about. At the same time, I don't know. Like I don't know if I don't trust Ubisoft not to Ubisoft it up a little too much though.
That's what I'm worried about is like Ubisoft is great at taking a game and just kind of squeezing out, just kind of like molding it into the shape they want it to, just so
Yeah.
it looks like every other Ubisoft game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Like
It
that
just
was,
looks a little too generic.
like that was that was like one of the big things with Breath of the Wild was that it de-emphasized like icons all over a map, right?
Yeah.
And then if this totally just has that again, I don't know. We'll see. I'll give it the shot. I'll give it a shot. It's out in December, which I didn't realize.
Really?
So that is like
Yeah,
a
like second or third or something.
full on like sort of console-ish launch game. I mean, it's coming out for PS4 and Xbox One. So it's
December
a
release
cross-gen
dates are
game.
always kind of like a bad sign to me. Like most of the real stuff comes out before Thanksgiving a lot of the times.
Yeah.
If they really, but it's weird. It's
That's tough
early
to say.
December is fine.
Yeah.
Late December is the dumping ground for bad games. But
Yes, definitely. I
we'll
mean,
find out.
it's tough to say, but I mean, like people are going to be desperate for PS5 Series X games to play at that point. So like, I hope that it at least looks good on those.
Yeah.
They're remaking Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. Anybody?
yeah,
I like that game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait,
It's
are you guys old
the-
enough to?
yeah.
It's a GameCube game. How old do you think I am?
I know.
I remember looking up a GameFAQs forum thread for
Okay,
Warrior Within.
that's fair.
Oh, Warrior Within.
Oh, let's not.
Oh, y'all don't like Godsmack?
I was just about to say what new metal band did they get on that soundtrack? That's right.
The Sands of Time remake does not look visually super
It's a little
impressive.
art is maybe a little rough.
Yeah,
on
they said
that.
there was a conscious decision to keep it like looking old, but like the facial models and all that stuff, it doesn't look like a very like up to date remaster. Not like some of the other stuff that's come out with like totally new graphics. So
I'm just glad they didn't make him look like Jake Gyllenhaal.
hey,
I like Gyllenhaal.
I
Gyllenhaal.
like Jake Gyllenhaal too, but like that movie.
I've told this story before, but he is the most single attractive person I've ever seen in my life. I was at South by Southwest.
Excuse me?
More
Like-
than Emma?
Gosling.
No, I've never seen him in
Oh, in
person.
your
I don't
life,
think.
in
I
your
was
life.
in a very small conference room with Jake Gyllenhaal. That dude is magnetic.
For what?
Like Source Code had
Okay.
a world premiere, and it was at Austin's and University of Texas. So it was a pretty small conference room. You walk in, and I was a press badge. It didn't mean anything because a bunch of UT students, young ladies, were front row center waiting for Jake Gyllenhaal to show up. And when he walked in the room, just like Oh, it was, but I was the same way too. That dude is very good looking. So I wouldn't mind him on the face of the guy from Prince of Persia.
Was he nice?
He seemed very
friendly?
sweet. He seemed,
Okay.
yes, he seemed very nice.
That's what I always want to know about celebrities. I don't want to know how hot they are. I want to know if they are decent people or not. I don't know.
Well, he
why.
seemed like a good dude.
Yeah.
That's my story.
Source code was cool.
I like stories of celebrities being real and cool to people. Warms the heart.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I haven't played Sands of Time. Rory, were you at GameSpot when that came out, or I think you must have joined right after that? I believe that was an 03 game. If I'm not mistaken.
I feel like I might have done a game guide for it because I was freelancing for GameSpot. You can hear all these stories on last week's Hotspot if you like.
Yes,
but
2003.
If you somebody in chat should look up GameSpot walkthrough Sands of Time, see if my name's on it because it feels like I might have done that for GameSpot or somewhere else.
I thought we might have given that Sands of Time Game of the Year that year, but I think it was Wind Waker actually.
Hey.
But it was up there. Like, I had forgotten until I watched this trailer, like how hyped that game was when it came out.
It was really good. I thought it was really innovative
and
and super neat when it came out. So
yes,
I'm gonna search for it now. But yeah, I think I might have done that game guide. I can't guarantee it. It's been a long time.
Yeah. Let's see. They announced that there's going to be an Aiden Pierce add-on for Watch Dogs Legion.
Cool.
Because Watch Dogs 1, highly revered game. Everybody clamoring for the return of Aiden Pierce.
And his hat.
That weird mobile MOBA thing ever come out? I thought it did, right? That Ubisoft, the Ubisoft made that weird game with like Sam Fisher and everything.
Their phone game.
Oh
yeah.
God, the Elite Squad or whatever.
I forget what it is. It has the bad guy from Wildlands. Not Wildlands. What was the Ghost Recon before Breakpoint? Was it Wildlands?
It was Wildlands.
It was Wildlands.
Yes.
It was Wildlands.
Yeah, we'll touch on the Tom Clancy thing in a minute, but
excellent.
Anyway, yeah, Aiden Pierce DLC coming to. Also, Stormzy is in it.
Hell yeah!
It's funny.
Yeah.
Didn't last week on the Bombcast we talk about the possibility of them bringing Aiden Pierce to?
That may have come up as a joke.
Yeah, I think because like is Aiden Pierce
He's the playable character from Watch Dogs 1. Yes.
Yeah,
he was in.
Because then we were talking
Dogs.
about how he came back in 2 for a little bit, and then Jeff was like, they kind of almost made him an interesting character, but I don't think they would definitely bring him back for 3.
Yeah. He's the ball cap and trench coat guy.
Okay.
From the.
Well, they'll just have to shoehorn in.
Game.
I'm sure Sam Fisher will show up there at some point because he is in every game except for a new Splinter Cell game for Ubisoft.
Yes.
It's almost funny how they're doing that. Like they're just throwing him into Wildlands and Breakpoint and everything else, and he just shows up and it's still Michael Ironsides. And I thought when he showed up in Wildlands like 2 years ago, they're definitely going to announce a new Splinter Cell game. God only knows.
Maybe he's no longer looking for a job. He's good. He's enjoying his retirement. Shows up when he feels.
He's the fifth echelon now.
Let's see. You guys watch this Riders Republic trailer?
Dude, it was radical.
That thing looks insane. I don't know. Apparently, it's the Steep developer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Are they done with Steep?
I know they're making
Yeah.
Steep 2, right?
Are they?
I thought we talked about Steep 2 and
that is correct. This is from Ubisoft Annecy, which was the team behind Steep. But it's kind of extreme.
Kind of.
It's kind of extreme.
In a that style of interface X sports kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But it's like BMX bikes and street bikes and snowboards and skis and like
squirrel suits,
paragliders and like a jetpack wingsuit looking thing all in the same races, it seems like.
It's like just a big old X Games.
Like, I don't know if this is... I can't figure out if this is doctored footage or if that's just the game, but it's got almost a Trackmania thing of there's like way too many people on the course at one time. And I don't know. It looks kind of ridiculous in maybe a good way.
That seems fun.
Adventure racing is really hot right now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
What is
you gotta buy kayak. It's like Iron Man races where you like run for a bit, you swim for a lot, you bike a bunch.
Try an Iron Man triathlon kind of thing.
Yeah, one of those things.
A tough mudder, you might say.
Perhaps.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know if that thing will be any good, but it looks like a kind of a goofy concept, which may or may not actually pan out.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
it'd
Grand
be
Teton
Yes.
is in this. Oh, Zaya National Park. That looks really neat. Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know how we're saying this. Agos, a game of space. How do you AGOS?
Agape.
How are you gonna?
What is it? Agus.
So it's a VR space simulation game, which sounds like it might be kind of cool. Not a whole lot of info on that, but I could super get into that for sure. And they're bringing back that Scott Pilgrim game,
Yay!
which
Jeff's not here. We can talk about it.
I love the
good.
movie.
seems like it might have been a surprise to the creator of Scott Pilgrim based on Twitter.
Right.
Yep.
Because he sort of tweeted out of nowhere, just like, "Oh, this is the first I'm hearing of this," or something along those lines. But yeah, I don't know.
Apparently
Like,
doesn't make any money from it either.
what's that?
He apparently doesn't make any money from it either.
Well, that's shitty.
Yeah, a lot of those rights things are
That
sold
sucks.
off in weird ways. So
I mean, that was originally a PS3, Xbox 360 game that kind of conspicuously was taken off sale quite a while ago.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you owned it, you could still download it, but there was no way to buy it anymore. So they must have done whatever work and or deals they needed to do to bring it back. It's coming out toward the end of the year. PS4, Xbox One, Switch, Stadia, and PC.
Keeping that fantastic
And the
Anamanaguchi
DLC.
soundtrack.
Yeah, do y'all like that game? Is it?
Yeah.
I love that game.
It's a really solid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the best beat 'em up I've ever played, but it's really solid. I think.
Yeah.
Good sprite work to it. I love the look of it.
Is there any depth
I
to
don't,
it?
I don't think it played all that well, but
Is there any like
whatever.
RPG-ish River City type stuff to it, or no?
Yeah, I
Nice
remember
stuff.
you leveling up your moves, I think your strength and your HP.
Yeah. Okay.
I played it in like an afternoon, so I really don't remember much about it.
so
It's
it
coming
wasn't
with the Knives DLC.
Yes, I guess this version comes with everything. So
it wasn't sold for a long time. Could you still play it if you
Yes,
owned it,
yeah, if
or
you
is it
owned
one of
you
those
could
PT
still, you
situations?
could still download it
Okay.
if you owned it from those stores, but could not purchase it.
They ever say why it got brought off? Song licensing or something? Maybe.
I think it might have been. Well, I don't know. If Anamanaguchi did this soundtrack, you would think that was not licensed in a way that would expire, but who knows? Who can say? Business is complicated.
That's true.
Speaking of business, they put out a video statement from Yves Guillemot about the recent turmoil around harassment and assault and all kinds of bad goings on in the Ubisoft hierarchy on Twitter, but not during the presentation.
still didn't have time.
Like they,
I'm
Still
Stitch it
so
in the goddamn
confused
video.
about this.
yeah, I'm truly sorry to everyone who was hurt. We have taken significant steps to remove or sanction those who violated our values and code of conduct. We are working to improve our systems and processes as part of the message, but people asked, "Hey, is this going to be part of the Forward stream?" And they said, "No, due to time constraints." Which
Bullshit.
I don't know. Help me figure that one
Was
out.
was this apology video only on Twitter?
I'm not sure if it got posted. I've got the tweet in front of me on the @Ubisoft account, but I'm not sure if they posted it anywhere else. I believe they said they're working to add it to the archives of the Forward stream, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yes, they did tweet that the on-demand versions of that show will include that statement, but it did not run during the live stream, which is probably when the majority of people are going to watch it,
Right.
I would guess. So there's that.
There is that.
That's
Man,
They also
how did they not learn from the first time?
I don't know, man. Like I don't know. I can't theorize what all goes on behind the scenes with stuff like this, but
Yeah,
it doesn't seem great.
I don't even want to. Just sounds gross.
They also say they are going to be donating money to the NAACP after that Tom Clancy mobile game came out and essentially painted the Black Lives Matter movement as a terrorist group backed by a worldwide Illuminati.
God damn.
So there's that, I guess, which is not nothing, but also, I don't think they even said how much they're donating. Doesn't exactly address how that happened in the first place, but here we are.
Here we are.
Yes.
It's great times.
Yeah. Last, I guess I could have run this up front, but last story I got is about the Switch, what's going on with Switch production, and the talk of a new model of Switch with better hardware, supposedly coming next year. There's another Bloomberg story talking about Nintendo was upping Switch production again due to demand.
Apparently,
we were done.
No, apparently the August sales for Switch were like the highest hardware sales for certain month in console history.
I think
like every console ever.
Yeah, like Animal Crossing was the highest selling Switch game to date.
The way I do it.
Come to my island, it's very high swelling.
That island is swole for sure. Anyway, this story is about Nintendo upping production orders for that stuff, but there is a nugget buried in here. I'll just read this paragraph. The introduction of a more affordable Switch Lite variant in late 2019 helped broaden the machine's potential audience, and Nintendo is making preparations for an upgraded Switch model and a beefed up games lineup for 2021, Bloomberg News has reported. Several outside game developers, speaking anonymously, as the issue is private, said that Nintendo has asked them to make their games 4K ready, suggesting a resolution upgrade is on the way.
Dang, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So maybe expect... I think that was in that original report. There was some talk that they might be moving to some 4K capable hardware, but...
Okay.
I mean, I don't have a 4K TV, but it's... People like Jeff, for example, talks like it kind of needs it. Because Switch can only output 1080, and on a 4K TV, upscaling that to 4K is not necessarily going to look amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Paper Mario looks fine.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
Yeah,
that's the thing is a lot of
need.
Nintendo's games are so hyper stylized. I mean, it could always look better for sure, but the Switch first party games aren't striving for realistic looking stuff a lot of the time.
Well, I think this is purely for technical reasons. Like,
sure.
I mean, there's like zero chance these games are going to run natively at 4K, but if it at least has some kind of internal scaling to make them look better, like you could be, you put out like HUD elements and like stuff like that at 4K, that just looks more crisp. And stuff.
Sure, yeah.
So
speaking of 4K,
yes,
apparently the Oculus Quest 2 specs might have leaked.
Yeah, I saw some of that stuff going around.
Apparently it's 2K by 2K per eye now, so a lot higher resolution. I don't plan on hooking up my VR. I don't have a VR, but if you're in the mood for more VR stuff,
I got bad news for you. I don't think you can hook up your VR even if you want to.
Yeah, that would be difficult, wouldn't it? It sounds like that might be coming out this year. They're already talking about like the forced Facebook integration too, which makes me less likely to
that seems to
be interested in it. But
it
sounds like it will be a big upgrade for that headset.
Yeah,
it's good to know people are still making them. I mean, I think we don't really talk about VR stuff very much, just because I don't think any of us here have a VR setup in our house.
I've got a Windows mixed reality headset and a PSVR that I never use at all ever.
Yeah,
ever.
It's weird. Yeah. I want to play Half-Life Alyx, but apart from that, like I don't really. I follow that microtrailers feed on Twitter, which does all the very quick cut together Steam trailers, and there's still a lot of VR stuff coming out.
I need to follow that account. You told us about that a while back.
Yeah, I found a lot of weird, obscure games to do.
There is so much weird shit on Steam now.
Hey, you want some porn games too?
Vinny had this experience like during our planning meeting yesterday that I also had over the weekend, because if you have gone in, like, let's say you go into your Steam content restriction settings and think like, I'm an adult, I could handle it. Just like
you cannot handle it.
I'm gonna turn this
Brad.
off. I'm gonna like show me everything. Don't hold anything back. I want to know the full breadth of the offering on Steam. There's a lot of stuff on there. It's my job to keep up with it. Just show me everything. And then...
Oh, they'll show you everything.
You get hit with Pussy 2. You get hit with Pussy 3. I think they're working on Pussy 4. I mean, it just never ends with Steam.
There is some stuff on Steam. Like, I'm not saying I'm like necessarily scandalized so much as like...
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah.
That's... I think like Vinny raised the real problem for us, which is like... What if we were still in the office browsing that storefront?
Exactly, yeah. I've got a little dude that's just walking around here.
He doesn't have a trailer for that game.
There's a reason that the computer is tilted away from the doorway where HR sometimes randomly pops in.
Like that full screen trailer pops up, people just doing it, and the HR walks by, and all of a sudden it's like,
you got to explain.
It's for work, I swear.
I swear to God,
when
it's
two
just
Spider-Men are
research.
fighting, it's because they love each other very much.
There is a potential for, in the very limited use case that only encompasses us, there's a very serious potential for severe ramifications in the office, in the workplace.
I think it's work excused. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be too shy about it at work, but it's not. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's very explicit though. This is weird. If you haven't looked, it is bodies fitting together in ways that only happen when two people are very much in love.
But yes,
Very much.
That's what it's all about.
In case the up to dozens of people out there whose job it is to look at the Steam storefront don't know, just be careful in the office with that stuff. Yeah. Assuming we're ever in an office again. So, all right. That's what I've got for the news. Unless y'all want to talk about anything else.
No.
I'm going to say you don't.
More porn. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, talk about that on our own time.
Okay.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, and it's that rare moment when we take a pause on the emails.
No more emails. Emails are banned.
Instead, we got B-mails.
Emails are the exact same thing as emails, but they're picked by me.
That's right. We got some rare B-mails for you this week.
You sound like the narrator for Knight Rider intro. In the future, one man will answer B-mails only. They're the same thing as emails, but they're B-mails.
Are they going to be read by a car?
Michael Knight shows up over your shoulder.
Can we get a car to read our emails for us?
We have some CapEx coming up.
Probably could.
Yeah, we could probably figure that out. Or I don't know. Yeah.
First,
I started to say something about Michael Landon, and I was like, he's no longer with us. I should probably just leave that be.
You took the way to heaven.
First B-mail
comes in. This I like to start, here a little peel back behind the scenes here. I like to start out with a very nice open-ended question just to get the juices flowing. Here we go. This is from Kevin in West Hartford, Connecticut. I always thought it was Hardford, but it's Hartford.
Nope. There's a T.
Hey Bombcast, when we look back at this generation of consoles, how do you think they will be remembered?
God, that's a big question.
Fondly.
Like, is that the whole question?
Yes, that's the whole question. There's a lot of ways you can go with it, but I think the first thing that sprouted into my mind was this is the first generation that service games really started to pop off.
Yeah.
Sure.
That was definitely the first thing I thought is the loot games and subscription games and free-to-play games are kind of everything now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, for me, the PlayStation 4 has been one of my favorite consoles ever, just from the big top shelf stuff like, God of War, Horizon. The real exclusive stuff has been super amazing. I think they've really knocked it out of the park for me. That's all I remember the PS4. I've definitely shifted way more into PC gaming over the last few years, so I don't turn on the PS4 every day. But I think that's where I come in. I don't really play a lot of the kind of servicey stuff on consoles, but the real high-end exclusive Sony first-party stuff has really kind of made the PS4.
Yeah, for sure. They've killed it on the first-party front. I mean, not to get into some navel-gazing discussion about what constitutes a generation, but if you factor the PC into that and where that's at, and the Switch is not on the same cycle as the others, but that's out there at the same time, there's probably never been a better diversity of platforms and ways to get games and price points to get games and
VR too for people who like VR. VR is also the new
VR,
thing.
The Switch for people who lay in bed and play games.
I love that
everybody can kind of do anything they want now.
And on that front, it's more of a tail end deal for sure. But this is the first generation where cross-play has started becoming the standard.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of it's a generation of everything opening up and working together and providing way more options for buying and playing stuff as opposed to the 360 PS3 generation was just kind of over the shoulder bro shooter stuff in my mind. It was a lot of that stuff.
I'd say phone games also kind of matured more.
Yeah.
This generation versus the 360 PS3 area where you get stuff not dissing Doodle Jump, but more narrative, heavy games on the mobile platform.
Sure.
Yeah.
I guess the biggest disappointment of this generation for me is just it's been so many more franchises that have just been around.
Yeah.
Right. All these trilogies that were conceived and then finished on the last consoles, and then so many of them came back we're gonna make another one.
Yeah.
Yep.
3 was not enough. Why don't we make more Halo and more Uncharted and more Mass Effect and more
Tomb
Assassin's,
Raider,
more Assassin's
more
Creed.
Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, Crash took some years off. Let's say I think that's okay, but
kind of related, I saw somebody in chat mention this has been this generation cycle, this console cycle has been packed with remasters like none other before.
Sure.
I think we're seeing a lot of that because we're reaching that age where like the people who grew up with games are starting to like look for the nostalgia. I mean, that's a trend in like movies and TV too, for sure. But
yeah, sure.
For me, it was the move to digital fully. Just
yeah.
I did start and dip my toes in, with the 360 and PS3, but with the prevalence of like sales and everything, I just kind of fell into it. I don't even think I made the conscious decision to go, I'm done with physical. It just so happened there were so many sales.
Yeah, the idea that that Xbox One policy out of the gate was just way too aggressive and people weren't ready for it seems to really be borne out with everything that keeps happening because both of these new consoles are launching with versions that don't have disk drives. They got there without having to force the issue. The market just needed to shift in that direction, and now it's just like, fine. Nobody cares about owning anything anymore. Convenience trumps everything else if you do it right. Like, that's always the lesson.
All right. Now from a very, very broad question to a very specific one that I don't know the answer to. Brandon from Louisville, Kentucky says, why does the Giant Beastcast have a "the" and Giant Bombcast doesn't?
Let's just say different people handle putting things into a website backend differently. Everybody's got their ideas about where an article belongs or doesn't, let's say.
So you're saying it might not have been like we need to sit in this conference room and figure out if we need to drop the situation?
It may have come up at one time or another. I'm not sure.
Asked on Slack recently, should I be putting these in the upcoming as the Bombcast or just Giant Bombcast? And nobody got back to me. So I've been putting them in as the Bombcast and the Beastcast. So that's canonical to me.
As long as something's in that box and it gets the point
I
across.
wind up changing it anyway, Rorie. It's
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I put in all those slugs as basically, templates for somebody else to update later, and then half the time it goes live with like weird art and stuff like that. So hopefully somebody's double checking me. That's what I'm saying.
I like to play it a little fast and loose occasionally.
That's fine
with things.
Try not to put any Steam adults only images in there. So
anymore.
Yeah,
something with the appearance, the form of being like professional and formal, but that internally is not actually formal and professional at all is something I have always enjoyed. That's way too much behind the scenes website design stuff, but looks like a professional website, but it's super not. Anyway.
Well, it wouldn't be B-mails if there weren't some nasty food questions in here. Okay. So this one comes in from Canada. Yasir in Toronto says, hey, Bombcast, I noticed a recipe for the Great Canadian Ketchup Cake on the back of a Heinz ketchup bottle. Would you try this? What condiment would you think would make the best case?
Did they include the recipe?
Is this just
I am going to just kind of run down the ingredients of this cake. I put a picture in our Slack.
I need to know what
ketchup cake.
Oh, it looks like a red velvet cake.
It does look like a red velvet cake. You got flour, baking powder, baking soda, cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, ketchup, food coloring, and then like a buttercream cream cheese frosting.
I don't know.
I'd try it.
How much ketchup are we talking?
We're talking about a cup.
Oh my god!
That sounds like a lot.
Half cup.
That still sounds like a lot.
Total in the whole cake.
At least it's Heinz,
ketchup is already kind of sweet.
I hate ketchup though, Ben.
Okay, well then you're gonna hate this cake. I'm gonna go ahead and say.
I mean,
I would for sure eat this.
It looks like when you look at it, it's
really
okay.
good.
Are you able to like pull that? Oh yeah.
Oh, it's
up. I'm
really
looking.
Just looks like red velvet cake.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you'd be cruel giving this to someone and they would assume, oh, it's red velvet, neat. And then they bite into it and it's just tomatoey sweetness.
Yeah, like actually I think my problem with this is like ketchup is too sweet for most of the things people put it on, but it's not sweet enough for a cake. Like tomato flavor in a cake, I just don't think there's any covering that up.
Sweet and savory. All at once.
What was the question? Like, what other condiments do we think would make the best cake?
Well, yeah. So that was the first one. Would you eat this? And then what condiments would you?
Sure.
Gravy.
Okay.
Gravy
maybe.
Gravy cake.
Man.
Oh,
hell yeah. Hell yeah.
What kind of gravy
Not
are we talking?
sour
Like a white sausage gravy or a brown like a turkey giblet Thanksgiving gravy? Like
Any of them.
Fucked up.
Or
that's the worst
like
thing you've ever said.
It's a nice, moist, savory cake.
Okay, all right.
It's like skip having like biscuits and gravy or cornbread and gravy. You just have it all in one go.
Like if you're just throwing out cake as a dessert item and you're saying like cake is the meal now, like if we're just doing full on savory cake, then I think I could probably.
Okay.
I could get
If we're
behind
moving
it.
to savory cakes, I would like a nice like the red chili oil cake, maybe like a spicy cake. You know?
Okay.
I could fuck with that.
I just want a salt cake.
Oh no.
Just a sodium cake. That's the one to send to your enemies.
Just note,
like a night.
note this is less than a week after you poured salt in your beer on a stream.
Hey, it tastes better.
Salt tastes pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, but you got to be careful with that stuff.
I love
think
salt. And you've ruined salt.
I think you know as well as anybody. You got to be careful with that stuff.
Soy sauce cake.
Soy sauce.
Hey,
Okay.
ooh, no.
No,
What's that
pretty
meme where it
salty.
goes like,
you make it with like a rice flour or something, maybe.
Oh, mochi, soy sauce, donuts.
Noodles.
This is going on the food crime post-it note list.
HP sauce cake.
there we go. It's got to be the real British stuff. That,
Yes, I want just put the whole bottle of HP in there. That's
Give me, if we're on that British cake, give me a vinegar cake.
Yeah. There you go.
I'll take it.
Oh man, I wish
With
we could
fish
have
and
to-
chips on the side.
We need to go break into the Chow kitchen now. I feel like.
Oh God, I wonder what has been left in those sinks that is still
no.
fermenting in that kitchen. I hope somebody cleaned it out really
I
well.
cleaned it before we left.
Oh, you did.
Okay.
I
But
did.
What if somebody else might have gotten in there though?
Well, I can't tell you what the security guards are up to.
That's their problem, I guess.
Watching TV, apparently.
It's so weird to like think back on when we got out of there.
Uh-huh.
Because I distinctly remember thinking like, it sounds like maybe we'll be out for like a week or two, maybe a month at the outside. So let's just kind of grab some stuff and go. Like it's probably not a big deal.
I went back and watched that UPF, and we were just like, "Oh, stay safe, wash your hands. We'll be back in I don't know, a couple weeks."
Like there's a whole lot of stuff I wish I had brought with me if I had known this was going to turn into like I don't know a year or something.
Yep.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because it's not like
tomorrow marks 6 months officially that
Wow.
we've been in quarantine.
okay, that's good to know. I don't know if
I want
I'll
my
ever.
PS3 back at some point.
What's that?
Oh,
I want my PS3
Oh,
back.
is that your PS3?
I've got a PS3.
Oh
in
yeah,
there.
the one we like played God Hand
Wait,
on.
the
right?
one in
Yeah.
the studio is yours?
Yep.
Oh man,
It's
that
got a
sucks.
sticker
I did not know
on it.
that.
I have a power cable for 2 external hard drives on my desk, and I can't use them at all because I don't have the
Oh yeah,
It's a unique
yeah.
power connector. So
that's my PC and those 2 TVs in the studio. Those are all mine. I brought those from home, and I need
Oh, I
those
see.
back
Okay,
also.
good to know. I've got a bunch of receipts in my desk drawer for expenses that I will maybe never be able to do.
yeah. There's also like a bunch of video cards. I'm still on the 1080 Ti. Like hopefully we'll get new video cards soon, but I could have been using a much better video card for the last, fucking 6 months. So.
I remember
1080
thinking.
Ti is still pretty good.
I remember thinking that last day. Maybe I should just load up on soda while I'm still here.
25 cents pop, man.
Oh God.
Well, yep. So yeah, it's been a time.
All right, it is time for the Nathan from Tumwater question of the week.
Hell yeah.
All right, Nathan writes in and says, "What is the most boring video game you have ever played?"
Oh man.
Not necessarily
Wow.
bad, just boring.
God,
And I didn't play it, but the first thing that came to mind was watching Jeff play Rage 2.
Okay.
Because it was just like, you drive, you get out of the car, you
Yeah.
shoot.
I want to say Haze is up there for me.
Okay.
Haze?
Haze.
Haze.
Exactly.
I heard that game was the shit. I don't know what you're talking about.
H-A-Z-E.
Haze, Haze. Okay, I'm
That
not
Haze.
familiar with that one.
I wouldn't
Exactly.
say Rage 2 is the most boring game, but just because that feels mean saying that about any game, but that it definitely did not hold my attention for very long at all. I would say similar situation with Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
Just kind of played some of it and then completely fell off.
Um,
But like most boring ever?
God.
Um,
I've had to play a lot of games for game guides, and I'm trying to think. There was, like you said, Bro Shooter. I think the Xbox era of like endless FPSs, there were so many FPSs coming out that had no real distinction to them and just kind of barreling ahead, shooting shit, and ending the game. There are a bunch of those. They were so boring I can't even remember them. But I think maybe Final Fantasy 11 when I played that the first time it was very slow progress, and you had to team up for a lot of stuff after like level 10. It was a long time ago. I found it just super tedious, and like all MMOs when you're killing rats at the beginning are kind of boring, but that one really stuck out at me as being kind of extra tedious at the time. So
anybody?
I remember.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Duel Academy. I was just very bored. I just wanted to get to dueling. I didn't want to have to deal with being in school.
Yep. Anything grindy, like the end of Ni no Kuni 1, where you had to like really level up to get to the end. And some of those things were, especially when the grind comes in late in the game for you to progress. Like Final Fantasy 12 had a similar kind of problem. If you're under leveled, you can really hit some walls and you have to run around and just do a bunch of shit. And it's kind of mindless and not super fun. Those kind of experiences always stick out to me because I had to do a lot of that shit when I was writing game guides. So,
hey, well, that segues into our next question. Perfect.
Actually, hang on. One more thing I was going to ask. Like multiple people in the chat say Ghost of Tsushima, which I like don't exactly agree with, but at the same time, I did totally fall off of that game. Did anybody finish it here?
I still plan to play it before the end of the year.
Like nobody. Jason, you tapped out.
Yeah, it's just other stuff happened, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm still right at the end of the first island, like on the mission that I assume will take me to the second island, and I don't know. Like I really was enjoying it, but it just, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's just
you can see the trajectory.
Yeah, and
hearing
that
where it's going,
yes,
and
like hearing that it doesn't change anymore, that you just kind of get all the powers early, and then it's just like another number of hours of that. Like I would like to finish that game, but it really did kind of just it plateaus, I think.
Over time, I think I've gotten a lot better about just stopping playing games. Like you said, if a game starts to bore me, I don't feel compelled to get through every game that I play. And I definitely don't finish even most of them that I play. I mean, something with a really good narrative, I'll try to stick with. But if I'm not feeling like I'm being entertained, I will definitely. And there's
Are you not being entertained?
Yeah. There's stuff like, Final Fantasy 14, I've been playing a bunch, and there's definitely some grindy parts of that game where you're just running around doing dumb quests, and then you know there's going to be payoff at the end. But with a lot of games now, like if I don't, what was the old? If you're going to bore me later, just have a really good opening. But when I feel like I'm starting to taper off in a game, I just learn to hey, uninstall it and move on.
Hey, that segues perfectly into the next email.
Segue master Matthew Rorie.
Thank you for bringing it back, Rorie. This email is titled "You're a Personal Video Game Hell." Hi, Bomb Crew. Who and what is in your personal video game hell? And how many eternities would you last before signing over your soul? It's from another Nathan, this time in Vancouver. And mine would be the single thing I hate most in a video game, and Avengers actually has it, but they only do it once at the very beginning, are instant fail stealth sequences in a non-stealth game, having to just sneak around a guard who doesn't have because stealth games will usually have vision indicators and stuff like that you can play around, but the one in the Avengers, I died, I swear to God, 25 times because I was just getting frustrated and running in and getting over and over and over again. So it'd just be a game that is nothing but that.
I think for me, we talked about it maybe on the hotspot, but games that have a very different end boss experience than what you've done throughout the rest of the game.
Yes.
Assassin's Creed has always had this problem where the end boss has to be super powered because you can't just sneak up and stab him. Breakpoint had the same problem where the guy had a bullet sponge magical shield that you all of a sudden had to deal with.
Yeah, I think that's maybe me as a game of nothing but terrible boss fights. I'm trying to just as a recent example, I think the bosses in Doom Eternal really didn't do it for me at all.
I love Doom Eternal. That's definitely another one of my big game of the year candidates for me personally, but definitely that end boss was more of a chore. And you can tell they feel like people have to make this big epic conclusion to a game.
Yeah, that boss fight is an hour long.
Super long. I saw somebody doing a ultra hard no death speed run of that game, and it just took forever.
I mean, the one cool thing about that boss fight is they just give you unlimited of every power up in the game, basically. You were just constantly killing, which is kind of a fun way to break the game, but it really just goes, man.
That's one of my things. I think I don't know, bad MMOs are definitely in mine because I've dabbled in a lot of MMOs, and some of them are just there was that after 2006 to 10 had just a lot of MMOs coming out that were never going to be as good as WoW to me. I get the fact that people are trying to make the next big thing, but bad MMOs, I would say.
God, yeah, they were just going for it, weren't they?
They had to make a WoW killer.
That's right.
They had to kill WoW.
Everybody had to. Yep.
I'm in hell whenever I'm playing Never Dead. Just have me play that game, and
How often are you playing that game?
more often than you would think, because I try and get through it because this looks and it seems like a game that I would be into very much, but it plays horribly. It's an awful experience. I don't suggest it to anybody. But yeah, now I feel a little silly because now people know what my how they can put me in hell. With that game.
I'll remember that, Jason.
Yeah, shit.
I hate, and it's my personal hell, when you're playing Pokemon against someone and a move misses.
Oh yeah.
It's like 90% accuracy. I guess this applies in XCOM and
I was gonna say that's the
Tactics
XCOM
games.
thing for me. Yeah.
Oh god, like you're right on the guy in XCOM, and then it says 98% accuracy, and then you just whiff.
Hey man, that's probability for you. That 2%.
No man, 98 means 100. Everyone knows that.
That 2% is gonna hit.
I had
2
a
times
really
out of
generous
100.
I had a generous grader or a teacher in elementary school, and they said 90 and up is an A. So I'm always just going for that.
Man.
I'll add to that and say any turn-based multiplayer game where people take too fucking long to take a turn can go straight to hell. Because I play so much Magic, and there are people, obviously you got to make some thoughts about Magic Arena, but then there are people who are just like watching a movie or something and taking like 30 seconds for every single, do I play this land this turn? That shit drives me up the wall. And all you can do is emote back, like, your turn, and then, they're just getting
Oh
they're
god,
laughing at you.
emote spam, like my days with Clash
Ooh,
Royale.
Clash Royale.
Like every game having emote spam is my actual personal hell, because I would break every fucking piece of hardware I own.
I'm gonna add all those emotes to our chat now, Brad.
It's probably a good thing that I only ever played Clash Royale in public, because if I had been in private, I might have destroyed a phone or two.
Oh no, my actual personal hell is games like Among Us. Not that I don't respect that game style, but I can't do it. My anxiety goes through the roof. Like, I can't play that game or a game like that, like Avalon or something like that, because I get too worked up. I can't do it. I stress out completely, and I feel like I want to die.
I feel like those games are a little revealing when you find out who is able to fake it the best. It's like, this person's got career options if they want to abandon all of their morals at some point in the future. All right. What's next?
We got another. This is less of a question, more of an anecdote, but I found it really interesting. This is called Big Grapes from Joe in NY. Last Bombcast, Jeff said he wanted giant grapes. One of the largest grapes I'm familiar with, I love that this person is familiar with many kinds of large grapes, is the Ruby Roman grape from Japan. They're not necessarily gigantic, but they're one of the largest grapes, being roughly ping pong ball size.
Okay.
They're also prohibitively expensive at $20 per grape.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
You can't do the eyeball bowl in your Halloween haunted Halloween house anymore, because that's way too expensive.
But I
This
love
is
the
not an
eyeball.
eyeball. There's also the much more attainable long grape. They're sold under the Moondrop or Sweet Sapphire names, and they're shaped like tiny eggplants.
Yeah, those really are long. Those totally just look like eggplants.
A little smaller than a Vienna sausage. They may not be big grapes, but they're definitely more grape than your standard grape.
What was the name of the first one?
The Ruby Roman.
Ruby Roman grape.
The problem is they're probably all seeded, and a seeded grape is a great way to fucking hate your life immediately. As soon as,
I just found a CNN story. This bunch of grapes just sold for $11,000 in Japan.
Jesus. Japan loves their novelty fruit. You got the square watermelons.
Yes, melons are a big deal in Japan for sure. That's my understanding. Hang on, I just kind of want to throw this on the stream real fast if this works.
And no real question. They also suggest plums as being a good substitute for a big grape, but I don't know.
Okay.
That's okay.
What do you need big grapes for in the first place? Like, what is the recipe?
You just want to make it last longer.
Imagine a grape that you can't eat in one bite. Imagine a grape you have to take a bite out of.
That's how they make Magnum bottles of wine, right? Big grapes. Am I correct?
Sure.
That's the Nebuchadnezzar bottles. When you see that, they've come from big grapes.
I'm just gonna pretend I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And you got to have really big feet to make that wine.
Do you know you don't know the sizing of wine bottles, Brad? Because they're all named after ancient biblical like Old Testament characters who lived forever. And I think the biggest one is Nebuchadnezzar. It's like I don't know, it's like 50 liters or something like that. Is huge.
You could be completely lying to me right now, and I would totally.
I'm absolutely not.
I really don't know, but here we are.
All right. Next up, we got a question about games. Hey, bombers. With both next-gen consoles making claims about the end of loading screens and Namco's patent for loading screen minigames ending 5 years ago, what were the best loading screen minigames of all time? Mine is the PS2 version of Okami.
What did that have?
Oh, that's good.
What did that one have?
I think
I don't remember that one.
Wait, is that you could paint
Just fine.
in the middle of the loading
Oh,
screen?
that would make sense. Yeah, I believe that.
I really like the PS2 era of the DBZ Budokai games. We just like turned the analog stick in circles, and you could get more Cybermen. I think that's what it was.
That was fun.
I like anything where like fighting. There's a fighting game one where you're practicing like sword moves. You can do all the inputs on the loading screen.
Yeah, I was gonna say
and you can,
Bayonetta's like that too.
Yeah.
Bayonetta,
that's not bad. The game that just lets you practice the game while you're waiting to play the game is not bad.
Totally.
I will miss loading screen tips because sometimes you find stuff that you totally didn't know about a game.
Oh, yeah, that's
and
a good
with
point.
SSDs coming out, like you kind of a lot of them flash by so quick.
Yeah,
you
like
can't even read them. So.
the minigame question is like a fun novelty question, but the losing all those tooltips is like an actual functional problem because there's plenty of games out there that I have only learned certain things from during that load.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean all the Dark Souls games and Bloodborne, you got some weird backstory on the world through those.
Totally. God, those Bloodborne load times were so long at launch. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's I'll be happy to see the end of like I forget what game recently was super. I know Wasteland 3 had really bad ones. There's something else I was playing that was just interminable in terms of load times, and I'll be very happy to see those cut down.
Where are we at on Bloodborne re-releases? Did they confirm a PC version, or is that still just rumored?
No, yeah, that's
It's still just a rumor, but it is confirmed for PS5. Is that right?
I don't know if that's been
Or is
confirmed
that also
either.
just rumored?
I think so.
I could have sworn they confirmed it's some form of
Isn't that
Bloodborne
Demon
port.
Souls on PS5.
Yeah, that's happening, of course, but
That's happening.
Huh? Okay, I guess not. Weird.
I don't want it to be. I don't want to be subjected to hell again.
This game's pretty good. You gotta get that platinum.
This
Man.
article,
You haven't
this
finished.
article reminds me of another one, loading screen game from Oni Chambara, Bikini Samurai Squad, where it's just like a beat 'em up in between levels, and you just hack the shit out of zombies.
Right.
It's pretty rad.
Huh.
That works. Yeah, speaking
I
of
think
that,
my
I'm sorry.
Because
Go
we've all played Oni Chambara. Right?
Oh yeah,
I don't think it counts as a loading screen minigame, but the Jade Empire side-scrolling shoot 'em up thing always stuck out as a poor thumb. Stuck out like a poor thumb to me when I was playing that game. Again, I don't think it's a loading screen game, but I have a fond memory of not liking that at all.
Sure.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I what I would like to see tomorrow, and part of this is just me being a weirdo who like really is interested in like console interface design stuff, but I would love for them to just do a freaking demo of the PS5. Like boot it up.
Yep.
Start it from boot, just record it from boot, show people what the interface looks like, launch a game. Like they're doing all that stuff. They're talking about all that stuff about like, we'll show you running multiplayer games underneath the game, or we'll show you parts of the game you could hop into. And you can pick off a menu. I want to go straight to this in the game, or I want to go straight to multiplayer matchmaking, and just like, you know, they've talked about that stuff where you're just like skipping a title screen and going straight to the mode you want. Like I would love to just see, like, show me how long these load times actually are. Like, show me how that works jumping straight into a game. I'm not expecting that tomorrow, but it would really be nice if they got out there and like Microsoft's the same. Like they're talking such a big game about all the loading stuff. Like they really just need to show people a demo of how it works. But I don't know if we're going to get that before launch.
All right, next email. It's a bit of a story, so buckle up. This comes in from Anonymous in Tennessee. Listening to the most recent episode of The Hotspot and all the talk of strategy guides reminded me of when I worked for a certain popular game retailer back in 2013. We would get new strategy guides in weekly, however, it was rare that we ever sold one. We would get the occasional diehard that would pre-order a game and a strategy guide, but almost all the time the guides would, quote, penny out, parentheses, drop the price to a penny and then be taken out of inventory. I think the official protocol I think the official protocol was that we were supposed to destroy them, but my manager just kept an ever-growing stack of guides in the back room. One day I asked if I could just bring in a big jar of change and I could buy them all out, but my manager, not wanting to go through the trouble, just told me I could take them all home. I ended up with around 200 strategy guides. And after pulling out some nice hardcover ones that would look good on a shelf, I took the rest to a local used books, movies, and games store. I ended up selling them and receiving anywhere from $20 to $40 a guide in store credit.
Huh.
And when all was said and done, I had just over $4,000 worth of store credit
God damn.
from these items that my game retailer had deemed worthless.
Arrest this emailer.
Okay.
There's a reason they wrote it as anonymous. While not technically illegal, I did feel like I was taking advantage of both the company I was working for and of the local bookstore. I ended up using the store credit to flesh out my collection of movies for my home theater. My question is, have any of you exploited some sort of technically not illegal, but still feels like you're taking advantage of some sort of loophole scenario?
I have 2 games retail stories about that exact thing. First of all, like this, and I haven't worked in games retail since the late 90s. Electronics Boutique when that still existed, but you had to push pre-orders, or not pre-orders, but guides on everything, because guides are just like pure profit. Like they were fucking do not sell a game without selling the guide with it. Second, a guy I worked with, like, you know how the whole trade-in thing works?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're giving people like what, pennies on the dollar for the games they're trading in, and then turning around, selling them for what. He would just pull money out of his pocket and buy the games from people at point of sale at the cash register.
God.
He would give them like $2 more than what the store was willing to pay for the game, and he would just buy it off of them right there.
Oh boy.
Pocket the game and take it home instead. So his numbers were not great, but anyway.
One of the things I wanted to mention might actually be a crime, so I have to think about it. But the other thing of taking advantage of a system is when I used to work at the cupcake shop, we had these loyalty cards, like stamp cards. So if you bought a cupcake, you'd get a stamp, and after 10 cupcakes, get a free one. We were supposed to rip them up and input them into the system that someone got a free cupcake. The store I worked at was such a high volume that it didn't matter, and I would wind up taking those free cupcake cards home and just give them to friends.
Hell yeah.
That's a good like first date gift. Like, hey baby, I think it's gonna work out. Put your number on the back. It's like if you want to, you can either call me or get a free cupcake. Either way, you win.
Rorie knows my moves.
I don't think I've ever done anything like that, but I used to work in a chicken restaurant that did not do. I think they gave us like half off a meal per shift, or maybe even not that. Like, I don't think there was a bunch of an employee discount. So we just wait till we closed, and the manager had to go to a little locked room in the back to count the registers, and we just fucking eat everything that we could before we put everything in the freezer. My friend who worked there too took home 4 whole chickens one time, just walked them out to his car.
Wow.
Yeah, give your employees discounts so they will steal from you. I mean, it was theft, but it was also like we were contributing to the food waste problem in America, because some of that stuff would be thrown out, and instead it would end up in our bellies.
When I was in college, some of my stoner pizza delivery friends worked at it was like a high-end gourmet pizza place, but their location was delivery only, so there was no like customer presence in the store. So anytime I showed up, they just let me go in the back and make whatever I wanted.
Excellent.
And they had have you seen those like little slotted pizza ovens? Like, that's not a big oven, it's like a small space. It's just like a slot shape that a pizza would fit in. I would like pile the pizza so high that it would like barely clear the top of the oven slot. It's just like a pizza like 5 inches thick. And then I would take
You're a deep
that
dish
home.
guy, huh?
I would take that home, and that would be dinner for like 4 nights.
Hell yeah.
It's a good time.
Sounds great. I would give my friends a lot of free movies when I worked in a theater. And in fact, like after bar would close on Thursday nights, those were the quarter tapper nights. We would just bring a bunch of people back to the movie theater, like 10 people, and just go and watch a movie after bar close.
Sure. Hell yeah.
It was pretty rad.
I have a feeling movie theater owners know and like probably accept the fact that that's going to happen. It's a movie theater, as long as their overheads on profit or for concessions and shit like that are so big, like losing a movie ticket sale here and there. I doubt they're.
Well, I don't know how it works. I mean, I know people who knew people in film or in theater projection up in the North Bay, and like I don't know how it is in the days of digital projection, but with film reels, you have to like build up the reel and like screen it for the employees for like QA, right? Like you have to run it at night to make sure that the reel is going to work the whole way through before you start.
Sometimes you don't get that opportunity. No. Sometimes it comes in that hot.
Comes in hot.
You're actually promoting the movie and you don't have the reels yet. So they'll come like an hour or so ahead of time before your first showing. So you've got to
just chuck it in there
together.
Hope it doesn't catch on fire.
Yep.
All right.
Next question. No name attached. If there was an anime Switch in real life, would you flip it?
Off or on? So I feel like
assume it's
mine's off right now.
It is off, and you can flip it on. Do you do it?
Would it turn 2020 into like anime? Because I don't know if I could handle it.
I think the real fear for me is what kind of anime you're gonna get.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
are you gonna like which genre are you gonna get the like dorky high school with like cadre of sexy supernatural girl anime, or is it gonna be the post-apocalyptic like cyborgs have destroyed civilization type of anime, or what are the other genres of anime?
Space opera,
jazz.
Space opera anime,
jazz anime,
sports anime. I could.
Oh, I would flip the sports anime switch for sure. Those are like, I love sports anime because it's like they're pretty formulaic, but you get a lot of good. Just like, here's a goofy team trying their best, and everyone's all quirky and shit. I don't know. I like that. I would flip that switch in a second.
I've always wanted to rush from breakfast with toast in my mouth.
Yeah, across the quad.
And then like bump into the love of my life. So, that'd be cool.
If you hit enough
carrying butter
people
in their mouth and you guys crash into each other and
Yum.
history.
Hey, if I wanted to watch a certain anime,
Hunter has been great.
what's the I kind of just want to watch Bubblegum Crisis again. What's the best way to do that?
I have them on CD-ROM.
Whoa. What are those like?
That is certainly the best way.
What are those like VCDs or something?
Those are VCDs.
Wow,
yeah.
that is in fact the canonical best way to watch that. Unless I can find a VHS of it. I haven't seen that thing in 20 plus years. But
I do have some sort of copy of.
I found myself watching 3 different versions of Konniwa Hurricane on YouTube this weekend, and I was like, I should watch this. Also, the killer cyborgs in that series, I was reminded, are known as boomers.
Yep.
Which feels extra appropriate these days.
That is pretty funny.
I need to track that down.
Brad just watched Yu Yu Hakusho.
Okay, all right.
So then Ben and I can have the dumb podcast.
Brad, you should watch Cowboy Bebop.
Isn't that like that's like classic anime now, right?
Yeah.
People consider Cowboy Bebop like a retro anime. Like I remember when that came out and it was like the new shit, and I was already not paying attention to anime anymore. But that was like the hot new thing, and now it's like we're all old, I guess.
Have you seen it though?
No, I have not.
I highly recommend.
All right. One more email.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. This is from Joshua in Modesto. A little bit of awkward phrasing on this, so I'm going to sort of paraphrase. I'm calling it now. Next year, Nintendo will release a 3D All-Star Collection for Zelda for the 35th anniversary. I'm calling that it will include Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword, since 2 of those games have already had the HD upgrade added to them, and the third one is rumored to already be coming to Switch. What do you think the possibility is that they choose A, these 3 specific games, or B, 3 games like this in general, and what 3 games would you want?
What was it? Skyward Sword, Wind Waker, and what?
I just
What was the third one?
Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess?
Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword.
In one package?
Yeah.
I bet they would sell those piecemeal. I don't think that... I think they would try to get more money than that.
Because the Mario collection's like, it's an N64 game, a GameCube game,
Yes.
and
Yes.
2 games.
I mean, Wind Waker got quite a good HD port to Wii U, which, like, their whole trend is like, let's sell all those Wii U games to people that have Switches that never bought Wii U's because nobody bought a Wii U, right?
So if they matched the Mario 3D one, it would be what? Ocarina, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword, maybe?
Yeah.
I could see that,
Skyward Sword
maybe.
would totally be in there.
Could maybe see that. I don't know.
Well, you think Breath of the Wild 2 will be probably out sometime next year around the 35th anniversary. Maybe that's just their big thing, but I don't have any problem seeing them make another collection. I don't know if I'd buy it, but
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like they've got more of a reverence around Zelda than they do around Mario. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
Mario's kind of like, fucking whatever. Here's a new 3D. Here's a DS Mario. Here's a Mario where you can make your own Mario. Here's like a Mario birthday cake.
Like, that's why Cadence of Hyrule was so cool, because it's like, whoa,
Right.
Zelda's in a
Right,
thing
like-
that's
like-
not a Zelda
Yes,
game.
for Zelda to get some weird twist on it was like, what? They treat that property with a certain amount of, like, I don't know, gravitas, yes. And like, I feel like they would try to milk that for more money than just shoving a bunch of stuff out in a thing, but who can say?
We've bundled Zeldas together before.
Have they?
If you could just pick any 3 Zeldas for a
Oh
bundle,
God, are we just
Which
saying
one
like
would-
what are the definitive 3 Zeldas?
what do you think? Yeah.
Link to the Past.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm trying to decide if Ocarina makes it or not. That's a tough one.
I think it has to.
I mean, if we're talking like historical importance, it's Link to the Past, Ocarina, and Breath of the Wild to me. Like those are the 3, by far the 3 best and most important Zeldas. I mean, you could argue the first Zelda is actually the most important, but
Yeah.
terms-
I'd say some people would probably say Wind Waker. Those people are wrong.
I love Wind Waker.
I did too.
I think it kind of it does not finish as strong as it could.
Better than Breath of the Wild.
Wind Waker was the well. I love the Ganon fight at the end of the game was visually just fuck us.
That whole moment-
fuck a such treat.
That-
Such a fucking treat. I guess
Yes.
what I meant to say there.
Like that whole moment is amazing when you go down under the ocean and there's like Hyrule on land and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
like
that was cool.
as much as I like Wind Waker and I like sailing around and the way that game's built, I think it's telling that when I got to that point, I thought I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna get like 6 hours of exploring Hyrule down here now, and then it just ends, and I was like,
It was just like, yeah.
I feel like that's kind of telling that like you've sort of missed the thing that Zelda actually is when you get to the end of Wind Waker a little bit. But
I'd play Wind Waker again. I haven't played it in a very long time. I think I
They-
did a game guide for that
the
too.
the Wii U version really tightened up all that bullshit like Triforce Easter egg hunt stuff at the end.
Yeah, I
you
remember
remember
that
that.
not being super fun.
They streamlined a bunch of that stuff in that HD version. But yeah, that's my answer. That's Link to the Past.
They also,
Ocarina.
I'm just now remembering, straight up sold a remake of a Game Boy game for $60 like
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah. Anybody play that?
Which
I did.
one?
The Link's Awakening.
Awakening.
Oh, right.
I never played the Game Boy version of that, so I was all excited when that came out. It was like, man, it's like the Lost Zelda for me. I get to play this whole brand new Zelda, and like it just couldn't like. I don't know. I think it felt a little like too slavishly trying to recreate the original Game Boy game. Like it just felt a little dated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Like, I think it was hard for me to approach that game from a very objective point of view, because that's like the Zelda game I played the most. I played through that game on Game Boy like 30 times, but you know, I was glad that they like slavishly did that, but I could totally understand if you don't have that nostalgia for it, of it just kind of whiffing.
Sure. All right. That's it.
And now emails.
Oh shit! I didn't pick any emails though. There's kind of a lot going on.
Nathan from Tumwater.
It's Nathan from Tumwater up too. All right, that's all you got.
That's all. I mean,
All right.
I could.
Let's declare an end to the B-mails then. Bombcast@giantbomb.com is where you send those. Or emails if you got those. That address also works.
Just depends on the day.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, I guess that's gonna do it. Thanks everybody for being here. Thank you, Matt, Rorie, for hopping in.
More Spelunky to come maybe this week. Like I said, stay tuned for Community Co-op Corner. Probably, I think maybe Wreckfest again, because there's new Wreckfest stuff this week. If Invis is watching, let's get that server back up. We might do that Friday
I
afternoon.
don't know what we're gonna do for that Spelunky quick look. That's gonna be different from what we did yesterday.
I know. I don't. Maybe we can get a little further and do
Yeah,
some
like-
No
more.
face cams.
Yeah, sure. Okay, that's a good start. So I don't think I'm going to be able to meaningfully get much further in that game because it's not easy to pull.
If I can try to do something from the PS4, we can try to work it
Yeah,
out.
we'll
But I don't
figure it
really
out.
have good capture equipment. So.
Yeah. We're going to talk over that PS5 stuff tomorrow. See what that's about. Hopefully there'll be something good in there. Got
1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Greenwich Mean Team.
there you go. That's the
Mean
that's
team.
the one.
Mean
It's the Greenwich
team.
Mean Team. It's my favorite anime soccer league thing.
We'll also break some Brad
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yes, I am going to finish World 5 tomorrow. My commitment to you.
I'm here for it.
And some other stuff in the week. We'll be back with more. So stay tuned. And for now, thanks everybody for watching and listening and being here. We'll be back with another Giant Bombcast next week. We'll see you then.